Hey, motherfucking hey, people. How's it going out there in the YouTube lands this Saturday, 21st of February, 2026? Hope everybody's doing well out there. I know I'm doing pretty well today. God damn, do I ever have a show prepared for you today, ladies and gentlemen? This might just be the most segments I've ever had prior to starting up a show. How many do I got here? Holy shit. I've got 27 individual segments for this shit. You people, you've come to this show before, and you've had a decent smattering of content, don't get me wrong. All right? You've had your serving here, a helping here, helping here, serving there. That's what I was trying to articulate right there. Thank you, brain, for finally catching up to what my dumbass was trying to say. In any case, today I've got a feast laid out for you, ladies and gentlemen. You think that it's going to be over, and then another giant fucking helping is going to be followed right afterward. That's what's up. That's what's going on today. Echo. Oh, okay. Sorry, it was me. Jeez, Achilles. You know it's going to be a classic stream, though. The classic mark of any banger Aiden Linden live stream is when he's got one of his friends trying to sabotage him in the chat. Oh, there's something wrong, Aiden. There's something wrong. You got to deviate from your show. You got to totally derail everything because something's going on, man. I'm just joking. I'm just fucking around. Anyways, without further ado, let's get going with our first segment today. That being the classic Trump without Trump.
It's Trump without Trump. You won't have to listen to his voice or see his face. This quote is unedited and 100% accurate. This is from a press gaggle on Air Force One on February 16th, 2026. These are the words of the President of the United States of America. I've got nothing to hide. I've been exonerated, and I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. They went in hoping they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein was fighting that I don't get elected with some author. A sleazebag, by the way. And I've been totally exonerated. No, they're getting pulled in, and that's their problem. I don't know. They've got to see what happens. But I watched her in Munich, and she seriously has Trump derangement syndrome. I've been totally exonerated on Epstein. And it's really interesting because they've been pulled in. Think of it. They've been pulled in. Clinton and many other Democrats have been pulled in. Yeah. Donald J. Trump.
All the Democrats, folks, they're the only ones that have been pulled in. I've been completely exonerated. Can't you tell? Can't you tell? I said it on at least 5 separate occasions there, folks. The more that I say that I'm exonerated, the more exonerated that I am. I'm the most Look, I know innocence, folks. I'm the most innocent person that's ever existed. It's true. It's the truth. Yeah, it's great. I'm telling people there's no audio or there's an echo and they're alone in the stream. No, you're good, bro. You're all good, my friend. No worry. No worry. All right, on to the next one. I kind of try to keep things a little bit silly at the beginning of the show. And in that vein, I told you, ladies and gentlemen, I told you the Nussie is real. Okay? You people out there, you deniers, okay? I've got different factions out there, right? There's people like Terry that deny the existence of the Nussie, right? She's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. It's like perverted and stuff. I don't even know what you're saying. And then you've got the factions like Dustin that are like, All right, well, Aiden, you need to understand, man, the material conditions that make up the Nussie, all right? I mean, it's just a typical turkey neck when you think about it. So you've got Nussie apologists, right? There's different factions at play, is what I'm trying to say here, right? But look at this. If this isn't a vindication of the Nussie argument, I don't know what is. Whenever Trump appears on TV in Japan, their pornography censoring AI automatically pixelates his neck. They literally can't show it in Japan. Japanese people can't even have a fucking opinion on this unless they go out of their way and go to find some other independent third-party source. That's how bad it is, folks. It's egregious, okay? There's no argument for it. All right, I get it. There's people out there that want to make apologism for the Nussie. But I'm sorry, folks. It's just overwhelmingly obvious. By the way, everybody out there right now watching the stream, if you're enjoying, please feel free to drop a like. It'd be much appreciated. Moving on to the next segment, though, I've got a little bit of a taste of what might be another forthcoming segment on the show. I don't know how many of these are out there. I haven't been able to find a curated playlist akin to Trump Without Trump. But I've got a couple of these ready to go. These are Trump versus Trump. So you're going to be able to see an opportunity here where Trump contradicts his own words from one statement to the next. Let's have a look.
Saudi Arabia giving $25 million, Qatar, all of these countries. These are people that kill women and treat women horribly, and yet you take their money.
Not a gift to me, it's a gift to the Department of Defense, and you should know better.
Why don't you give back the money that you've taken from certain countries that treat certain groups of people so horribly?
You should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us. I want to pay you $1 billion or $400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much.
Why don't you give back the money? I think it would be a great gesture.
I thought it was a beautiful gesture. Now, there are those that say we shouldn't be accepting gifts to the Defense Department. And I would say only a stupid person would say that.
It should have never happened. And I think you owe an explanation to the American people.
We're giving to everybody else. Why wouldn't I accept the gift?
If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo. Saudi Arabia.
It's the quid pro quo bit at the very end that gets me every time I see that. And that's one of the two that I've got pulled here, ladies and gentlemen. I love this just as a general genre, by the way. When I eventually get good enough at video editing, there's a couple of people that I want to do this to, where they argue with themselves. Because they're just so flip-flopping all over the place. They contradict themselves so frequently that it really wouldn't be any kind of challenge to just throw something together where somebody says something and then you cut the very next moment where they say something completely different. It's a great genre. It really is. Anyways, let's take a look at our next one here.
Starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again.
But the word affordability is a Democrat scam.
One of my top priorities will be to quickly defeat inflation and make America affordable again.
I don't want to hear about the affordability.
We will make America affordable again. We're going to make it affordable again.
You know, there's this fake narrative that the Democrats talk about affordability. Affordability is a con job.
We will target everything from car affordability to housing affordability.
You know, this whole thing is, they use the word affordability. It's a Democrat hoax.
Starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America.
How much more clear does it have to be, folks? Come on. Really? Where he just overtly says one thing and then immediately contradicts himself. You know, like, I get it. He at least gives himself 1 year in order to try and, like, make people forget about it. Because he's relying on the notion that is oftentimes true in America, right? The fact that it's pretty quick, the American cultural zeitgeist, to forget most major things. The one that it hasn't been quick to forget recently being the whole, Jeffrey Epstein debacle. Much to his chagrin, he's been trying desperately for the American people to forget about that little fucking chestnut. But in any case, I've got one more in this kind of vein here that I got pulled here for folks to take a look at, take a gander.
We'll cut the price of energy and electricity in half. Within 1 year, you're going to have electric bills and energy bills, and your gasoline for your car is going to be 50% cheaper than it is right now. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. I will cut the price of...
The fact that there's so many examples of this, right? The fact that there's so many individual different examples that I can pull of this sort of fucking behavior happening just goes to show how egregious it really is, right? Like, it's fucking bad, ladies and gentlemen. Our next segment that we've got here is related to Venezuela. The beautiful / horrible country of Venezuela. Their oil, it's beautiful or it's horrible, depending on what moment I'm being asked about. Oh, wait, no, that's a spoiler, Aiden. That's a spoiler. On to our Venezuela segment.
But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it. You know where the oil, their oil is garbage. It's horrible. The worst you can get, tar. It's like tar. And to refine it, you need special plants. Venezuelan oil, which is a heavy oil, very good oil, great oil. It's fantastic for certain things like asphalt roads. The best there is in the world for asphalt roads and other things. But now we're...
He's such a shitty salesman because he can't even sell it very well in the second clip. He's like, he has the energy of like a disinterested retailer or like a realtor, Like they're selling a house and they know that the house that they're selling is shit. So as they're walking through it with you and they're kind of going through all the little details of the property, they're going, oh yeah, this house, it's got strong bones, this house. Let me tell you, Maybe you might think because the tiles of the roof are coming off that it's bad, but let me tell you, the bones in this house. And then he like kicks one of the fucking supports. He kicks one of like the things holding up the fucking shoddy excuse of a porch in front of the house. It just gives way. And he's like, what can I tell you? One of the best opportunities for renovation around. The resale value as soon as you get a new deck in here, folks. Like, that's the level of shit that we're dealing with here. But Aiden, he got rid of men and women's sports. So forget about the other stuff that he did. I know, right, Big Bad Mama? I know. He did a couple of token social issues. So never mind the actual important fucking policy decisions that he's been overseeing and flip-flopping on and contradicting himself on left, right, and center. Am I right? The next one that we've got here, let me just pull that bad boy up. We've got a senator attempting to cover for President Trump, trying to pull a spin on the whole Venezuelan invasion here. And Trump just immediately undermining him as soon as he does.
Not interventionism. This is making America safer.
And the oil companies are going to go in and rebuild their system. They're going to spend billions of dollars.
He's like, man.
Like, literally the next moment that the senator is sitting there and he's like, we're making America safer right now. That's what we're doing. Look at his fucking face. Look at his face in that moment. And he's one of so many other people that have just had to sit there and deal with some of the worst secondhand embarrassment in their entire lives because the guy that they're sitting next to is actively undermining the fucking narrative that they're trying to establish in real time. In real fucking time. It's unreal. It really well and truly is. So we've got, in this next one here, we've got John Bolton, who was Donald Trump's former national security advisor. You know, one of the things that's been going on recently is all this talk about Greenland, right? Or Greenland, depending on which pronunciation you use. But yeah, Greenland this, Greenland that. Trump's going after Greenland. Let's see what the world has to say about that. Well, let's see what John Bolton, the guy who was literally sitting in the fucking room with the guy at the time, had to say about it. Because I think what he has to say is rather interesting.
Called me to enter the Oval Office in late 2018 and said when he first called me to enter the Oval Office in late 2018 and said a New York business friend of his had suggested buying Greenland, every conversation I had with Trump, it was a real estate deal. The national security concerns were minimal. He has no philosophy. He has no national security grand strategy. He doesn't even do policy. He sees things through the prism of his personal relations and whether it benefits him in some political or economic way. That's what he does. His supporters say he plays three-dimensional chess, and it's a very complex game. I'm here to tell you he does not. It's one move at a time. The world is complex. You need to have some strategic framework to think about American interests. You don't build strong alliances and you don't deter opponents by switching what your position is every couple of hours.
Funny that, isn't it? This whole switching your position every couple of hours. Isn't that becoming more and more commonplace? Like, just as far as social acceptability is concerned. More and more people, as time goes on, it seems, are just, whether it's just your average everyday Joe Lunchbox on the street, or the president of the goddamn fucking United States of America, it seems like everybody nowadays is just able to, on a dime, oh, I think one thing, but now I think another thing. No explanation as far as why they switch their opinion on that thing. No explanation as far as why they think the other thing was true versus why they think it isn't true now. None of that shit whatsoever, because nowadays we just live in the age of the fucking shrug, where everybody goes, oh, who cares? Who fucking cares? I'm just fucking apathetic about that. I don't fucking give two goddamn shits about that, so who cares, right? Who cares about the fact that more and more people in Trump's cabinet, as time has gone on, have come out and said, hey, this guy kind of doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene, you've got John Bolton, you've got Thomas Massie, you've got all of these different people that are coming out and saying, hey guys, they're blowing the whistle on this fucking guy and saying he doesn't know what he's doing. And every single time somebody does it, there's always a fresh excuse as far as why that person can't be trusted. It can't be that all of those people that were closely associated with Trump, that knew Trump way more than the fucking people that are supporting him ever possibly could. It couldn't be that all of them actually have a point when they come out and say those things. No, they're all just fucking agitators, right? How many does it have to be is really my question. How many does it have to be? This guy alienated his own vice president, for fuck's sakes. Why do you think Mike Pence wouldn't have come back around if all that fucking shit on J6 didn't happen? And people weren't fucking gathered around out front of the fucking building where he was certifying the election, telling him to be fucking hanged? Do you think if that wouldn't have happened, that he wouldn't still be vice president? You think JD fucking Vance is vice president of the United States because of his merit and his ability in office? Fuck no. JD Vance is vice president of the United States because he's a fucking simpering sycophant that won't fucking say anything against Trump whatsoever, even though he has gone on record in the past saying things like Trump being a fascist. You know what the funny thing is? This narrative that exists out there, oh, Donald Trump can't be a fascist. That's not true. That's absurd rhetoric. You know who one of the only elected officials is right now who's gone on record and called Donald Trump a fascist? JD fucking Vance. And now look at him. Now look at him. He's a simpering, whimpering, spineless little fucking goddamn simpleton at his side, just rubber stamping every goddamn thing that he does. Oh, hey, Phantom, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you out there in the side chat. Good to see everybody out here right now. If everybody is enjoying the stream so far, please drop a like. Be much appreciated. Got 3 likes, 6 people watching right now. If we could get that up to maybe even 5, that would be much appreciated. But that being said, what do we got next up here on the docket? Well, we've got a reappearance of an old friend of ours. The Wolf Den has made a post. And I don't really give a fuck about the actual content of the post itself. Really, the only thing that I have to do to refute this post is tell him to go back and watch my stream that I made a couple of days ago and covered the arrest of this guy. Because the whole point that I made at that point was, yeah, Andrew got arrested for this shit. I agree that that's a good thing. Absolutely. But the funny thing is that they're holding their royal fucking family more to account than you guys are. This country that was supposedly founded on the notion, oh, hey, by the way, Reexamination. Welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well today, my friend. But this country, the United States of America, that I'm referring to right now, was kind of founded on the notion that the king is tyrannical and we need to get out from the notion of the king and all that shit. But you know what? Even in 1776, they still had a fucking precedent in the royal family for actually fucking prosecuting their royals, right? 1647, if you look into the fucking trial of Charles I, that guy got fucking executed because he fucking started and incited a giant fucking war that killed a whole bunch of his own citizens, right? So there is not only more precedent prior to Andrew being taken in for people in power in the United Kingdom being held to account compared to America, but you're even further proving my point with this post, you fucking ignoramus. Like, so much for fucking accountability, am I right? Give me a break. So we've got whoever the hell this guy is saying he must have made an offensive tweet. I'm kidding, by the way. Fuck Andrew. Which I couldn't agree more. Fuck Andrew. He's a piece of shit. And it seems, based on Lupin's reaction here, that he agrees. But unfortunately, nobody reacted one way or another, not even this fucking random guy, to this little novel that he wrote and bound. Over down on, sounded like Boomhauer over here. I'm going to find something over there down in the comments, something like that. Wrote something down over here up in the comments that maybe nobody else was able to get anything out of. But I, as a Lupinologist, will in classic fashion be able to get plenty out of. Because he says something aggressively stupid here. Like, even in the context of Christian theology, it's really dumb. Like, the rest of the comment, whatever. I don't even care. You can read it for yourself if you want. I ain't hiding it. But the thing I want to focus on here was this little blurb right here. Proverbs, guys, is probably one of the worst ones, though, because he wants to bring about, or he wants to brag about how conservative, quote unquote, he is. AKA a rhino, because he's so prideful he can't see it. He would rather have his ego be stroked and just want to claim that he was right if Trump was on the files doing some heinous crap, instead of having the mindset where you hope and pray that Trump is not on the files doing some heinous foul shit. Dude, even in the context of Christian theology, that's a fucking really dumb thing to say, isn't it? Because it already happened. Everything in those fucking files are past tense, retard. Like, even the notion of a whole bunch of people getting together, right? Don't get me wrong. I think the idea of a bunch of people huddling together before a football game or a baseball game and going, "Hey, Jesus, I know that you're the creator of the universe and died for our sins. And, you're overseeing every single little thing going on right now, but at the same time, I need you to really deeply care about this football game at the same time as all the war and genocide and garbage taking place in the world right now. Like, that's dumb enough, right? But then you up the level of idiocracy even more by saying, I'm hoping and praying that he wasn't up there. Bitch, it already happened. It already happened. No amount of clasping your hands and whispering into them and going, please make sure God Emperor Trump is in the files, Lord Jesus. That's not going to take it away after the fact, right? And even if it did, right? Isn't that kind of a peek into whatever weird, fucked up mindset you have about Christianity? Maybe that is your worldview, dude. Maybe your worldview of Christianity is so fucking distorted that you genuinely do think that if you personally clasp your hands and whisper into them that the Lord and Savior of all of humanity and creator of the entire universe will come and interdict and make sure on your behalf that your fucking cult of personality isn't fucking held to any kind of account. What a stupid fucking way of thinking. And it's not bad enough that he's already stupid in a vacuum. He's stupid according to the President of the United States, because he and this guy right here, this Rockets whatever the fuck, are sitting here going, oh yeah, fuck Prince Andrew, he's a piece of shit. Well, according to your fucking God Emperor, your cult of personality, that's not even true, is it? Let's have a look at that. That little chestnut.
Can actually speak about it very nicely. I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing. Can actually speak about it very nicely.
It's a very sad thing, folks. It's very sad that even though he was a horrible offender that lied overtly in a public interview by BBC that he did these things, it's horrible that he got arrested, isn't it, folks? God. You're dumb even in your own fucking guy's mind. I'm sure if you said fuck Prince Andrew to Trump's face, he'd probably call you an idiot or some shit like that. That's the funny thing. And if you were somebody that was actually capable of some independent thought, I wouldn't even levy that as a criticism, right? How would I be able to levy that as a criticism? If you were known for thinking for yourself and having your own ideas and even being capable of mustering the slightest bit of criticism for this orange fucking Cheeto right here, right? Like, then I wouldn't be able to sit here and go, wow, you're really dumb for not agreeing with him. But that's what you do, dude. You hang on to this dude's nuts and suckle on each and every single little bead of sweat that trickles down them like a simpering little fucking weasel. It's really weird, dude. It's really weird. By the way, if anybody out there agrees that it's really weird, be sure to give the stream a like. Likes on the live stream, much appreciated. They help support the live stream and the YouTube channel in general. But that's not all. I've got a 3-layer cake when it comes to this motherfucking coverage, ladies and gentlemen. You know why? Exclusive. Former prince to disclose Trump connections to Epstein network. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh, Reggie. Oh, dear. And once again, right? This goes back to a conversation that I had over on Proverbs, guys, right? With Dan, the driveling dullard, where he was going, Ghislaine Maxwell was prosecuted. She's currently being held in prison right now. And it's like, yeah. And right now, in a story that I'm going to cover later on this very show, by the way, not only is she being given preferable treatment in prison, but she is currently filing for a fucking, what is it? It's not a pardon. Commutation. That's what it is. She's currently fucking filing for a commutation right now as we speak. Never mind the fact that I've already covered on the segment that I've done all about presidential pardons. By the way, I wonder when that's ever been done over on Lupin's channel. You ever seen Lupin ever like do research and like gather together his talking points and actually present them in a presentation? Besides like doing an abortive like Bible study where he like freaking stumbles and mumbles his way through like 1 or 2 passages over the course of an hour and a half with his corrupt cop friend. like besides that, have you ever seen the guy actually take the time to really like put something together of his own volition and cover something that isn't right in front of his face that's already been put together for him? I don't think so. But in that episode, right, I covered the fact that in the case of Isaac Towsey, the guy that attempted to be pardoned by George W. Bush, there was a whole bunch of outcry regarding his pardon, wasn't there? Whole bunch of outcry. And back in those days, back during the George W. Bush presidency, there was enough public accountability associated with the office of the President of the United States that they actually rescinded the pardon. In one of the few examples in American history where a pardon was ever rescinded. And don't get me wrong, he was absolutely deserving of that pardon being rescinded. But think about the crimes of Isaac Towsey compared to the crimes of Esformes, the other person that I covered that Donald Trump issued a commutation to back in, I believe it was 2020. Esformes was a guy that literally defrauded the American taxpayers of $1.1 billion. In the process, literally destroying countless lives in the process. And he just quietly gets a commutation and walks out the door. And why am I bringing these up? I'm bringing them up because both of those cases involved those gentlemen in the biggest fucking quotations possible, applying for their pardon or commutation before they had served for 5 years, which is what the Department of Justice outlines as the mandated amount of time somebody needs to serve before applying for one of these things. That's what the Department of Justice outlines, and these people just want to go overtly against that. Same thing with Ghislaine Maxwell, right now as we speak, applying for a commutation, and much like Prince Andrew, how is her bargaining power going to be supported? It's going to be supported by the fact that America hasn't released the full unredacted files. Prince Andrew wouldn't have any bargaining power related to Donald Trump if the files were fully released unredacted. Ghislaine Maxwell wouldn't have any bargaining power related to the discussion or disclosure of anything within those files if they were left completely unredacted. But these two people, who are almost certainly criminals, in the case of Prince Andrew, he hasn't had his day in court yet. But Maxwell's behind bars. She is a fucking criminal as far as I'm concerned. In her case, we have one criminal that has a chance of actually getting out of everything that she fucking did. And in another instance, another very probable criminal who might not even have to go to trial by basis of using this as bargaining power because your fucking government hasn't released the thing that it promised to release. And you just don't fucking care for the exact reason that I said before. Because you're just apathetic to all of this shit. There's so many people in this world, in America, and in the world in general that have just become goddamn apathetic and uncaring to everything that goes on around them. Is there a join link? Hi, all. No, Wildheart, I'm sorry. Right now, this is the closed off segment of the show. I'm covering things right now on the show. And then after I'm done covering things on the show myself, I'm going to be opening up the panel. And there's going to be an opportunity for a bunch of other people to come in and join the discussion as well. But, in any case, God's not going to line item veto the transcript of reality. God is not a cover-up God. That's kind of the point that I'm making, right? Re-examination. Is that there are so many Christians out there, Christians, quote-unquote, that are so narcissistic that they genuinely think that by them saying something into their fucking hands, that they'll be able to pardon a major politician of wrongdoing. And that they just hope and pray that there's nothing in them whatsoever. Dude, there either is or isn't something in them. Okay? You can wish in one hand and you can shit in the other, and you can see which goddamn one fills up faster. Aren't you guys the facts don't care about your feelings crowd? Aren't you guys the ones that pretend like you're the ones living in reality and that we're the ones living in a fantasy world? Your fucking president is very likely implicated more times in the Epstein files than fucking Harry Potter is mentioned in the entire goddamn Harry Potter series, or God or Jesus are mentioned in the goddamn Bible. And what's your response to that? You clasp your hands and hope and pray that maybe, just maybe, Jesus, maybe he's not actually in there. What a fucking idiot, dude. God damn. Class A idiocracy, if ever there was one. All right, on the next segment here, I want to show through evidence that the claims made about Trump being a fascist, that's something that I mentioned earlier, right? The notion, oh, you guys can't call Trump a fascist. You guys can't call the direction that America is heading the direction of fascism because that's just overblowing things. Well, what about the fact that Trump himself is literally on the campaign trail, contradicting his own vice president, by the way, in the clip that I'm about to show, saying that Comrade Kamala is a fascist. By the way, no, you know what? I'm going to save that commentary for after the video. I'm going to let him say it in his own words. And then we'll do a little bit of coverage.
Look, we can disagree with one another, we can debate one another, but we cannot tell the American people that one candidate is a fascist, and if he's elected, it is going to be the end of American democracy.
But for that to happen, we must defeat Comrade Kamala Harris. I use that term because you know what that term means, right? Communist. She's a Marxist, communist, fascist, socialist. Somebody's got to explain this one. This is a radical left, Marxist, communist, fascist. This is communist, this is Marxist, this is fascist. But you know what? It's dangerous. I think this is a different kind of a race. All we have to do is define our opponent as being a communist or a socialist or somebody that's going to destroy our country.
I mean, at least 3 or 4 separate examples of him doing literally that exact same thing. But who cares when Trump does it, right? Dislike stream. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Dean. Much obliged. Appreciate that very much. Yeah. The notion that it's somehow extremist to use it, but it's also okay when Trump uses it against other people is absolutely absurd. And you know that nobody is going to actually voice anything. You think fucking Lupin is going to come out and go, oh yeah, Trump, what was wrong for saying all this stuff about Kamala Harris? He's not going to fucking criticize Kamala Harris. Or sorry, he's not going to criticize Donald Trump. Pardon me. Of course he's going to criticize Kamala Harris. But he's never going to criticize Donald Trump. He's never going to criticize the golden calf. You know why the Proverbs guys have been talking about idols and idolatry so much recently? Because I know you're watching right now, Lupin Tupin Takes Poopin'. But the reason why they've been talking about it so much is because in the example of the golden calf, they became so fixated on it, right? They became so focused on the idea that the golden calf was going to solve all of their problems that they ignored the dire consequences of doing that. Right, and had to pay for it dearly as a result. So that's why they're comparing that to idolatry, because that's exactly what you and your ilk are doing when you constantly hold up these fucking idiots that have no care for you and have no care for your best interests whatsoever, to which you benefit from. How exactly? How have you benefited? Oh, right. I know how you've benefited. You've benefited because based on the right-wing wave that's currently going on across America, and I say wave very skeptically, because even though Trump's in power right now, those polling numbers ain't looking too good, buddy. I'm just going to say that right now. I'm just going to say that. I should pull that, by the way. I didn't even fucking pull this. Hold on. Just one goddamn moment. because I've got some news regarding the whole Trump polling situation, because the whole Trump popularity situation across America has become so fucking bad. It's become so untenable. Here it is. Gallup will no longer measure presidential approval after 88 years. What a weird thing. Isn't it such a strange pattern that in the presidency of this guy, we've had a constant lack of actual quotable information coming out of his fucking government? Every single time that you can actually quantify the claims that this guy makes in any way, shape, or form, he will do his very fucking best to try and hide that information away from you, right? The jobs, the thing that I covered just the other day, right? As far as the Board of Labor releasing their jobs report, that's been stalled at least twice, back to back, by this fucking guy. And now Gallup isn't going to be releasing a presidential poll, or approval rating, rather, after 88 fucking years of covering them. Do you realize how many fucking controversial presidents that includes? You realize that 88 years includes people like fucking Nixon, who literally only escaped going to prison because he got fucking pardoned by the fucking goon that he put in his direct fucking successor. He resigned from the presidency and immediately got fucking pardoned for all of his wrongdoings. It's the only reason why Richard Nixon didn't go to prison. And even then, he didn't fucking remove the fucking Gallup poll, because Nixon at least had enough of a fucking brain to realize that the optics of something like that is absolutely fucking atrocious. It's atrocious. To anybody who's actually paying attention, it's atrocious. But then again, paying attention is something that, as I said earlier, is something people are doing less and less of every single day. So, I don't know. I guess it can't be entirely the case, though. I guess enough people are, in fact, paying attention that they were like, we gotta cover it up, folks. We gotta cover it up. So I guess we haven't hit the critical mass of apathy just yet. You know what? You know when the real yardstick is going to be? The real yardstick is going to be when they do have all of that shit out there. When there is no attempt to cover that kind of shit up. When Gallup is just able to come out and announce that Trump's opinion is fucking... and approval ratings are in the goddamn toilet. And he just keeps going anyways. He just keeps about the same policies that he was doing anyways. Just goes fully mask off. That's when I'll know that we've hit that critical mass of apathy within our society. It's really up to us, you know, those people living within society, as far as whether or not we want it to hit that critical mass. Because on an individual fucking basis, you are the one that decides whether or not you care about this shit. I can't convince you to care. I think the people that are watching right now care at least on a certain level. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. But at the same time, I can't convince anybody to care. You have to take that up yourself. Okay? So with that being said, let's take a look at our next segment here. Banner with Trump's image displayed outside Justice Department headquarters. Bottom of the banner reads, "Make America Safe Again." And here we go. Here's the dystopian image that we see laid out before us. And I just want to say ahead of time, right? You know what the classic comparison that right-wingers always make? What about Obama? What about Obama? What about what Obama did, huh? Well, let me just ask you real quick. If you really want to invite that comparison so goddamn much, what about Obama? If Obama did exactly this, if he hung the exact same fucking slogan with his face on it instead of Donald's, do you have any idea how much the fucking right wing would have lost its goddamn mind? You know how much paranoia existed on the right wing that Barack Hussein Obama was this insane fucking dictator that was going to take everything over? He never did anything like this. Never did anything like this whatsoever. But let's read a little bit. A large banner featuring Donald Trump's face was hung on the exterior of the U.S. Justice Department headquarters on Thursday in an apparent display of the Republican president's efforts to exert power over the law enforcement agency that once investigated him. You know, for those in the audience, I know that there's an unfortunately tragically large number of Americans out there that are uneducated. But for those that are educated in the audience, I'm sure you remember in school, you were taught that there were 3 separate branches of American government, right? There was the legislative, there was the executive, and there was the judicial, right? Those are the 3 main branches of American government. And there was an idea taught in school in America that those 3 branches are meant to have checks and balances in place to make sure that one of those branches doesn't exert too much power over the other branches. How is this Trump literally putting his fucking face right in front of the fucking Department of Justice's headquarters? How is that anything but the definition of overreach between those branches? This is literally, this would be something that if you were in school a decade ago, they would have fucking put this as an example on a fucking test for kids in elementary school. Give me an example of, you know, like they'll have an A, B, C, D, and this example right here, the president putting his fucking face on a banner in front of the fucking Department of Justice would be the right answer on an A, B, C, D fucking abacadabra bubble grading fucking test. Right? It's that simple. It's that much in front of your face in that regard. Isn't it really weird, the cloak and dagger game that this administration is playing? Because on one hand, they don't want the fucking information from Gallup coming out that this guy is becoming historically unpopular. They don't want that coming out. But you know what they don't mind doing? Putting his fucking dumb fucking mug right in front of the fucking department. Hey, everybody, just in case you thought there was any checks and balances in place for these things, never fucking mind. Let me just fucking avail you of that notion real quick. Give me a fucking break. How much more overt does it have to get? Seriously, that's an honest question for people out there. It's an honest fucking question. And if you think that this is just some fucking giant exaggeration, then let me show you exactly why it fucking isn't. Okay? Because there's a little bit of a fucking parallel between this and a certain other thing. Let's take a look. March 27th, 1936. Portraits of the Führer are raised on official buildings across Berlin. This one, at the Potsdam railway station, reads, "Freedom, peace." Wow! It's got nice, reassuring words on it. Surely that must mean that the guy saying it must have good intentions, right? Like, give me a break. The fucking parallels, ladies and gentlemen, are pretty goddamn overt. There are still 3 branches: Donald, Barron, and Trump. There are 3 branches: Donald, John, and Trump. Those are the 3 branches. Phantom X11. That's like the modern version of the year of Julius and Caesar, as far as like the Roman joke about Julius Caesar becoming dictator. It's like the modern equivalent. Fury. Look, Mr. Logo. I don't pronounce it the right way. I get it. I understand. I'm sorry. My bad. I don't do the little dotty things above the U the right way. That is true. I need to work on my German. I might as well learn a fucking good German accent given the fucking current trajectory of things, eh? Might give me a leg up if things keep going in this goddamn direction. Anyways, moving on to the next topic. Supreme Court rules that Trump's Supreme Court rules that Trump's sweeping emergency tariffs are illegal. Uh-oh. I know that this is technically old news, even though it's 1 day old. I know it's old news. Don't worry, everybody out there in the chat that's probably about to go, oh, Aiden, this already got covered. This already got rescinded by Trump. I know. But I got to cover the full context because I wasn't around to cover the first part of this. So there might be like 2 people out there in the audience that aren't aware of the full context, all right? So the Supreme Court on Friday ruled that President Donald Trump violated federal law when he unilaterally imposed sweeping tariffs across the globe, a striking loss for the White House on its issue that's been central to the president's foreign policy and economic agenda. The decision is arguably the most important loss the second Trump administration has sustained, as the conservative Supreme Court, which last year repeatedly sided with the president in a series of emergency rulings on immigration, the firing of the leaders of independent agencies, and deep cuts to government spending. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote that the majority opinion and the court agreed 6-3 that the tariffs exceeded the law. The court, however, did not say what should happen to the more than $130 billion in tariffs that have already been collected. By the way, where do those tariffs come from? I wonder. Because you got to think, right? Those tariffs are coming into the United States. I know that the narrative, right, is that other countries pay the tariffs, right? All this money, it's coming in from other countries. It's all coming in from other countries, folks. But that's why the narrative all of a sudden shifted from this to how America needs to repay all of that money to American businesses. Which, once again, classic example of the corporatist, capitalist hellscape that is the current day and age in America taking place. Because really, do you think the corporation didn't turn around and just put all of that extra cost onto the consumer? Do you really think that when things like consumer RAM became super expensive, that these companies were just like, well, you know what, guys, we're just going to eat those costs ourselves because that's the right thing to do? Fuck no. They turned right the fuck around and they put all of that right back onto the consumer. So these companies, even if that is the case, even if all of this money gets repaid, guess who it's getting repaid to? Not you. Guess what happened? Now they get to double dip because they got to fucking take extra money out of your pocket by raising the prices on shit, and they get reimbursed by the government while you get jack shit. And yet, there's still a huge component of you fucking people that are out there trying to defend this system. Trying desperately to make justification for this system, no matter how abjectly fucking broken it is. You'll still somehow come up with justification for it. I'll teach you the best German ever. You'll blend right in. Thank you, Mr. Logo. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Alrighty, let's read a little bit more. The president asserts the extraordinary power to unilaterally impose tariffs of unlimited amount, duration, and scope, Roberts wrote for the court. In light of the breach, history, and constitutional context of that asserted authority, he must identify clear congressional authorization to exercise it. The emergency authority Trump attempted to rely on, the court said, falls short. Trump received the news of the tariffs on a note while he was meeting with governors at the White House on Friday morning. After he read the note, he said aloud, "That's a disgrace," and he left the room shortly after, according to a governor in the room. Oh, wow. I'm sure he left the room and had a completely fucking even-tempered response. I'm sure his response to what happened was totally fucking chill and calm and in keeping with the statesman-like demeanor as you would come to expect of the President of the United States of America. Oh. So the next one that we have here is Trump's freakout that he did. Because let's face it, folks, this right here, if this exact same thing had been done by any other politician but Trump, which we've kind of come to expect these little meltdowns and tantrums from, then it would be major headline news. But this is just another day. Doesn't mean I can't cover it and laugh at it, though. By the way, for everybody out there that's like, oh, I'm so good at spotting narcissists. Narcissists are everywhere. I hate narcissists so much. Because that is like a trend that's coming out nowadays, right? Like, how to spot a narcissist. There's like articles about it all over the damn place. Narcissism and how it affects you. Well, I'll tell you what. Look at this clip and tell me that this guy isn't displaying textbook fucking narcissism. Specifically narcissism when its feedback loop of validation is cut off. Because when you get a narcissist who's in a validation loop, and that validation loop just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going and keeps going, and then suddenly gets cut off at one point, which is inevitably going to happen for everybody, by the way. No matter how high you try to build your ivory tower, reality is going to eventually come around and slap you in the face. It's just inevitable. But let's watch.
Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries. Certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting. But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country-destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's...
Listen to the vitriol in that. Listen to that. I can do anything I want. Listen to that.
I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1.
Aw, Donnie. Aw. Are you upset? Are you upset, buddy? That's such a goddamn shame, isn't it? Aw, did your validation loop get cut off, buddy? Oh, wait. You immediately decided. And by the way, oh, you know what? I'll talk about that once this little clip is done.
Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Can't charge $1.
Oh,
I would have used 1 penny, but we don't.
Yep. There we go. Think about the language that he's using right there, by the way. He can destroy the country. And I know he's not referring to America right there. I know some people have tried to take that out of context and go, oh, he's saying that he's going to destroy America. No, he's trying to say that he'll destroy other countries. You know what other countries he's talking about? A shitload of those other countries are your guys' fucking allies, aren't they? They're your global fucking allies, and you're talking about destroying them because you're having a little fucking meltdown over the fact that reality came around and slapped you in the fucking face. Boo fucking who, bitch? Boo fucking who? That's the level of fucking narcissism that we're dealing with this guy, though. He would literally rather destroy international trade and fuck up the global paradigm even more than it already is right now, just for the sake of trying to satiate his fucking ego. What an absolute joke of a human being. Absolutely pathetic. Unequivocally pathetic. Just sad. And by the way, he raised his global tariffs to 15%. Was 10%. Now it's 15%. That little fucking chestnut came out here. That's really great, isn't it? Now it's even worse than it was before. Why? Well, it's even worse before because this fucking clown can't fucking take the slightest bit of criticism. Think about it. Every single time this guy has come across any fucking resistance whatsoever, which has happened to every single president of the United States of America outside of George goddamn Washington. It doesn't matter who the hell you are. Even somebody like Ronald fucking Reagan, who almost got unilaterally elected to the office. He still faced plenty of resistance in his time. And did he go around calling every single piece of resistance he faced communist and fascist? Did he go around acting like the Democratic Party just shouldn't fucking exist because they're an inconvenience to him? No, he didn't. Because Ronald Reagan was a statesman and Donald Trump is a fucking joke. That's why there's such a big fucking difference there. It's really not hard to spot as soon as you take your fucking blinders off. So, next thing, and I talked about this a little bit earlier in the show, but I'm going to get into it in a little bit more detail now. A puppy and unlimited toilet paper. Legal experts say Ghislaine Maxwell's alleged prison life is uncommon. Wow. I wonder why. Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for her role in Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking of teen girls, and her treatment is prompting speculation. Since Ghislaine Maxwell's controversial transfer to a low-security prison camp this summer, her time at Texas FPC Bryan has prompted uproar over alleged favorable treatment, including claims this week that she was provided custom-made meals, access to a puppy, and as much toilet paper as she wants. Isn't that great? Isn't that absolutely fucking fantastic? Meanwhile, ICE is building a bunch of fucking detention centers and warehouses right now, which I fucking didn't pull. I'll have that pulled for the next show, but let me just do a little fucking rant about that real goddamn quick. All right? Think about this. Ghislaine Maxwell, somebody who got actually fucking sentenced to this shit and got sentenced to 20 years behind bars, is now living out her fucking days in a low-security prison camp, having a fucking puppy and having all the toilet paper she wants and fucking having custom fucking meals made for her because, oh, she didn't like the prison food that was served to her earlier. Too fucking bad, bitch! As far as I'm concerned, you may as well have the fucking key thrown away. That's what people like fucking Dan talk about. Oh, these people that do all these horrible things, I would give them a swift, painful death is what I would do. That's what he said on the fucking Proverbs guy stream. Meanwhile, people like fucking Trump, the person who's literally sitting here with her in this fucking photo, decided that she ought to serve her fucking sentencing in about as much of comfortable conditions as she possibly can without getting absolute public uproar. Absolute and total public, basically short of fucking releasing her back into the public. She's getting about as good a treatment as she possibly can. She's in a low security prison camp right now. Meanwhile, fucking a bunch of little children are sitting on the floor in an ICE detention center somewhere, fucking huddled around the fucking toilet that they have given to them with the little fucking screen in front of it so that they have quote unquote privacy. That's their fucking bathroom. In the same room as them. That's what the fucking immigrant children get. Why did the immigrant children get that? Well, guess you were born on the wrong fucking slab of the dirt ball, buddy. Now you get to rot on a concrete floor and get forgotten about. Fuck this system. All right? Fuck this system. It's unfucking justifiable. And anybody out there who's attempting to justify it is a piece of fucking shit, as far as I'm concerned. There's no justifying it. The special treatment and alleged request for a commutation. Oh, wait, no, hold on. Whistleblower disclosures, Raskin said, also revealed that Maxwell was working on a commutation application with Trump's administration. Wow, never mind the fact that, like I covered earlier, a fucking commutation application should only be submittable 5 years after the initial fucking sentencing. Per DOJ guidelines. Fuck that, right? It's not Ghislaine. Shut the hell up, Peter. Shut the hell up. I don't need you coming in here and editorializing in the middle of my fucking coverage of this shit. Whistleblower disclosures, Raskin said, also revealed that Maxwell was working on a commutation application with Trump's administration. Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year sentence for her role in Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking of teen girls. A scandal which, by the way, the DOJ has recently come out and said never happened. Why is she in prison for 20 years if, according to the Department of Justice, there was no giant sex trafficking ring? Funny how that fucking works, huh? A scandal that has, sex trafficking of teen girls, a scandal that has dogged Trump for years and has recently hit a feverish pitch during his second term. The special treatment and the alleged request for a commutation of her sentence has prompted feverish speculation as to why Maxwell is getting such treatment and whether or not Trump could pardon her. The disgraced socialites team on Friday denied that she was seeking clemency. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that they're not denying that because it would look fucking unimpeachably horrible in the public eye that they were seeking clemency prior to when they were supposed to be seeking clemency. But once again, who fucking cares, right? Who cares? Who cares that she's probably going to fucking get let off with a fucking silent little commutation? Mark my fucking words here, by the way. All right? If I'm wrong about this, then come back to me about this. But I swear to God, Maxwell is going to be one of the people commuted at the end of Trump's term. She's going to be one of the people in the same way that they tried to slide Isaac Towsey under the rug with his pardon at the end of Bush's administration. The same thing is going to happen with Maxwell. And just like Towsey, there's going to be a huge fucking thing of uproar about it. And you know what? Unlike Towsey, it's still going to happen. And you know why I know it's still going to happen? Because Esformez, a person who's objectively less horrible than Ghislaine Maxwell, got away with his fucking shit. Right? He got away with his shit, and there was still plenty of goddamn uproar for him. I somehow fucking doubt that she's just going to fucking have this rescinded. I feel like he's going to try. I really do. Though both Maxwell and Trump have denied the U.S. president was involved in or knew of Epstein's wrongdoing, the former British socialite remains at the center of the scandal. That was heightened this week when, amid the trove of released emails, there was a message between Epstein and Maxwell that referred to Trump as the dog that hasn't barked, and said that he had spent considerable time with one of the victims. Yeah, funny that. The dog that hasn't barked. Nothing to fucking see there, right? Certainly, Maxwell's treatment after she was transferred from Florida to her new, much more relaxed prison in Texas is eye-catching. More perks allegedly afforded to Maxwell included a special area where she can receive visitors, replete with an assortment of snacks and refreshments for her guests. She's got a fucking greeting area pre-stocked with snacks, paid for by the taxpayer. Hey, everybody that's in a giant uproar over the fact that you allegedly have to pay for trans surgeries. How about you focus on the fact that some of your fucking tax dollars have provably gone to fucking feeding the fucking guests of Ghislaine Maxwell a bunch of fucking tea and crumpets? How about that? No? No outrage about that? Oh, weird. Funny how that fucking works. As for the aforementioned puppy, an inmate who trains puppies to become service dogs was instructed to provide one to Maxwell for a time so she could play with the puppy, even though neither inmates nor staff are ordinarily allowed to pet the service dogs in training. Oh, but you need to understand, though, Ghislaine Maxwell feels lonely. She feels lonely in prison. The child sex trafficker feels lonely. Let's give the child sex trafficker a puppy, everybody. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? What goddamn world are we living in right now? Seriously. Oh, by the way, up next on my fucking coverage, those amazing beautiful authorities that never do anything wrong. Those people that you ought just put all of your trust in because, oh, the government is just so beautiful. The government's so awesome. The government's so badass, right? Yeah. Revealed Epstein cultivated relationship with CBP officer, causing U.S. investigation. Guardian review of U.S. Justice Department files reveals Epstein interacted with 6 CBP officers. The officer investigated denied any knowledge of trafficking underage girls. Oh, I fucking wonder why. Federal investigators examined Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with a Customs and Border Protection officer who worked at the St. Thomas airport, to which Epstein regularly flew on his private planes before traveling by boat or helicopter to his private island, newly released documents reveal. As part of the investigation, which did not result in any charges, investigators also issued subpoenas related to the 3 additional CBP officers working at the Cyril E. King Airport. St. Thomas, documents show. The Guardian also identified 2 other CBP officers on St. Thomas and in Florida who were in contact with Epstein based on emails and text messages between Epstein, his staff, and the officers. It does not appear the FBI ever investigated those 2 officers. And you know what? Let's just say for a moment, right? Let's give the best possible interpretation, the most charitable interpretation that I could possibly give of this, even if this is all fucking true, right? The CBP officers, they just didn't fucking know anything about it at all, right? Then they are some of the most grossly incompetent fucking people on the goddamn planet. It is their job to investigate this shit. It is their job to hold these people accountable. And meanwhile, the person who is becoming known as the largest sex trafficker in American history was just operating buddy-buddy with all these people. And according to them, they just had no idea. No idea whatsoever. It's literally the same level of absurdity as saying that, oh, you know, Hank Schrader in Breaking Bad, he just had no idea that Walter White was getting up to all the shit that he was doing. You know why that was possible in that show? Because they contrived a bunch of fucking shit. They made a bunch of, obviously the whole story's contrived and made up, right? Like from the very beginning. But the reason why they were able to make that plot line believable, a DEA agent being buddy-buddy with the biggest meth kingpin in the entire country, was because they made up a whole bunch of fucking plot contrivances that made it more believable. Apparently, there was a real-life analog to that. But you know what? I'm sure they just had no goddamn idea about it whatsoever, right? As part of the investigation, I already read that part. The FBI in New York opened a preliminary investigation in October 2019 after receiving a report that a long-serving CBP agricultural inspector had ongoing friendship with Mr. Epstein while working for CBP pre-Clements in St. Thomas for over 7 years. The email establishing the investigation into the agricultural inspector, Timothy Bill Rauch, is among the millions of files released to Epstein's crimes that were released by the Department of Justice this month. Federal authorities interviewed Epstein's longtime pilot about the convicted sex offender's contacts with CBP agents. U.S. Customs and Border Protection is the federal law enforcement agency tasked with overseeing the entrance of people and goods through U.S. ports of entry, including airports. Right! Which is why I was saying just a moment ago that it's literally her fucking job. It's literally her goddamn job, okay? Or sorry, their job. Pardon me. I read Achilles' Ghislaine thing in the chat and immediately associated it with her. For whatever fucking reason. But yeah, that's why I made the stupid fucking Breaking Bad comparison, right? Not to try and sound like a pseudo-intellectual, which I am, by the way. By the way, if you 7 people watching right now are enjoying my pseudo-intellectualism, please drop a like into the stream. It would be much appreciated. Help give the stream a little bit of oomph this fine Saturday of ours. But Let's keep going. U.S. Customs and Border. No, I already read that part. It claims to be uniquely situated to deter and disrupt human trafficking and is one of the 4 primary U.S. agencies tasked with enforcing federal anti-trafficking law. In July 2019, federal prosecutors in New York indicted Epstein on trial. Yeah, we know about that. Yeah. No CBP officer was ever charged for crimes related to Epstein, and The Guardian has not seen any evidence to suggest that CBP officers had direct knowledge or involvement in Epstein's crimes. And let me make that clear, right? There's not been any indictments issued. First! Hell yes, Spooky. Hell yeah. Everybody else's comments have immediately been invalidated post-talk because Spooky just came in and said first. Fuck yeah, Spooky. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, let me be clear. I'm not saying that there's any evidence that this is the case. I'm not saying that it's just open and shut that these guys were involved. But very best case scenario, these guys were looking the other way on a similar level to fucking Hank Schrader in Breaking Bad. It was literally their job to prevent the exact activities of this guy. And it was happening right under their noses. Anyways, let's move on to some ice. That's right, Ice Ice Baby. Dun 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 dun. Definitely not copyright infringement under pressure. We changed one note in the song, bitch. It's completely different. Ice Ice Baby. Let's take a look at our first clip in the Ice segment, ladies and gentlemen.
This guy wants you to go to jail if you blow a whistle to let people know that ICE is around, or even if you post to the Nextdoor app that cops are in your neighborhood. I'm Arizona State Senator Annalise Ortiz, and this guy, who hates the U.S. Constitution apparently, is State Senator John Kavanaugh. His bill, SB 1635, creates a new state crime for, quote, unlawfully alerting people to the presence of law enforcement. The language is so broad that it could land you in jail for up to 6 months for simply sharing on social media where ICE is located, making a gesture, or blowing a whistle.
How much more poetic can you get? The term whistleblower, right, is a term commonly used in our society to denote somebody who is trying to signal an injustice that is currently occurring, right? And they're literally trying to criminalize whistleblowing. How much more fucking obvious can it get? Do I need to draw this on a fucking whiteboard? Like, for fuck's sakes.
These guys want secret police to be roaming around, killing people, detaining them in our neighborhoods, and they want to make it a crime for you to talk about it? This is what Republicans are focused on instead of doing...
Which, by the way, let's focus on that aspect of things. If it's all of a sudden a criminal offense to talk about ICE agents going into an area, then what? Are journalists going to start getting gaffled up? Because that's what this law is going to allow. If this law, given its broad interpretation, which you could go and look into yourself, by the way, it's right there. It's SB 1635. Go look into it right now. The language is so fucking broad that it will allow for journalists to be detained just for reporting on ICE. Welcome to fucking fascism, ladies and gentlemen. The fucking slide. We're taking one more step. One more little fucking step towards fucking authoritarianism. Hope you guys like the boot. Because let me tell you, the boot ain't gonna fucking discern. All you people out there, all you fucking stupid bootlickers out there that act like you're somehow gonna be preferably treated under this goddamn regime. The boot don't discern, baby. It's gonna crush you just as much as it's gonna crush everyone else. And you know what your dumb ass is gonna do? You're gonna fucking throw your hands in the air and go, woe is me! Why didn't someone warn me? Why didn't somebody tell me that this was gonna happen? Because everybody that was trying to tell you, you used every possible fucking term to try and invalidate. Oh, they have Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, they're fucking woke. Oh, They're just a fucking crazy leftist. They're a domestic terrorist. Every single fucking possible term you can pull out of your hat to try and dismiss and disavow and discredit anybody who tries to point out the fucking slide that's occurring right now in real time. It's absolutely retarded. Dustin, you obviously didn't. I'm not even going to fucking read your comment out loud. People are welcome to read it if they want. But that's such a fucking misnomer of what I'm saying. It's such a misrepresentation. I'm talking about the fact that there's currently a fucking law being debated in Arizona, Dustin, that will allow journalists to get fucking arrested for covering ICE. And that's your fucking stunning coverage of it in return? That's really what you have to say in return? Fuck off with that bullshit, dude. Come on. Don't come at me crooked with that kind of bullshit. Because I don't fucking appreciate it much.
Literally anything to lower the cost of rent and utilities, be serious. If you're a fan of the United States Constitution and you believe this attack on free speech is insane, find your legislator at this website, send them an email, and let them know what you think about.
And it is an attack on freedom of speech. But you know what? The more and more that I've fucking experienced the rhetoric and the language of these people, the more and more I've come to realize that they don't give a fuck about freedom. They don't give a fuck about individuals' rights to practice freedom the same way that they don't give a fuck about individual fucking soldiers within the United States military. They don't give a fuck about anything except the broader concepts. The United States military is badass, but when a United States Army veteran gets terrorized by ICE, gets fucking thrown in jail and wrongfully fucking detained for 3 days, even though he's a United States citizen and a fucking veteran, who gives a fuck, right? Who cares? But the American military as a whole, oh, they're great. They're badass. I love the American military. Rah, 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 jingoism, jingoism. Saber rattle, saber rattle. Fuck off with that bullshit. All right? If you fucking care about it as a broad concept, and you don't care about the individuals that comprise it, then you don't actually care about it any more than the fucking propaganda that's been regurgitated to you tells you to fucking care about it. All right? And I'm not speaking to anybody individually when I say that. I'm speaking to the people that try to excuse this fucking shit. And if you think that I'm speaking to you right now, then maybe, just maybe, you are one of the people that's trying to excuse this shit. And you ought to reevaluate things a little bit. Little bit of fucking food for thought, right? Let's look at another draconian bill related to ICE that attempted to get passed in Arizona that got killed in the cradle. Rare example of a bit of fucking resistance to this fucking Overton window getting pushed even fucking more over to the extreme right. It's a rare fucking relief. A nice little oasis in the desert of bullshit, am I right? Bill to allow ICE agents at every Arizona polling location dies. Activists barred from entering Senate for committee hearing on SB 1570, which, by the way, separate to the other one that we were talking about. This is a different draconian law that's trying to be passed by Arizona right now related to ICE. So Phoenix, a controversial bill to allow federal immigration officers at voting locations this year died Friday without a hearing. Strike Everything amendment to Senate Bill 1570 would have forced counties to sign agreements with the federal government to allow immigration law enforcement at polling locations for the 2026 general election. Which, by the way, what's the justification for the federal overreach in this circumstance? All these people that always were like, oh, states' rights, rah, rah, we need to make sure states' rights get protected. Meanwhile, a fucking bill was trying to get pushed to allow federal agents to fucking sit around at fucking voting facilities. And what was the attempted justification for that? Oh, the idea that there's a shitload of voter fraud going on by people like illegal immigrants, right? Never mind the fact that on my previous show, I covered the fact that people like Nick Shirley have gone to places like California trying to scrape together anything they can possibly fucking find. And what did they find? They found a 100-year-old voter and claimed that it was somehow impossible that that person even existed. And they found a person that registered their fucking dog or cat or whatever it was to vote that turned out to be a registered Republican. That's what they found. And yet, they're still trying to use that narrative to justify federal overreach. And let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be honest. In a day and age where over, like, going on 200, I'm pretty sure I last saw. Maybe I'd have to go and see something to double check that. But going on 200 American citizens have been wrongfully arrested and detained by ICE, one of which I'm going to cover later on this show, by the way. Don't you fucking fret. Don't you frown. That's coming right up. But out of all of those, right? Do you really think that people, especially people that look Latino in persuasion, aren't going to think twice about going to the polls? Aren't going to think twice about going to the voting booth? You don't think that they fucking have that in mind when they're trying to pass this shit? It's voter intimidation. Oh yeah, go and trust the agency that's murdered several American citizens in the street to just sit there idly by, not doing anything at all. They're just going to sit around all day and oversee that. Never mind the fact that 2/3 of the American public have come out and said that their organization has gone too far as its enforcement of its fucking duties. Never mind that. Let's just fucking force that down people's throats too. Can't I just saber rattle on one saber rattle one more time? I like the sound of the rattle my saber makes. I'll tell you what, dude. I'll let you have an exclusive saber rattling license, all right? You've got an exclusive pass to saber rattle to your heart's content re-examination. But yeah, this is an overt attempt at voter intimidation. They're still lying about the 2020 election to justify limiting voter access. Exactly, Big Bad Mama. And you know what? That's not exactly something that doesn't have precedent in American history, does it? Isn't that one of the whole reasons why the 2026, or sorry, not 2026, I believe it's the 26th Amendment was passed? It's the 24th or the 26th Amendment. Oh, jeez. Now I'm getting all confused about it. Which one is it? Which could it be now? No, I'm pretty sure it's the 26th Amendment that eliminated things like the poll tax. No, it's 24th Amendment. My bad. 24th Amendment eliminated the poll tax across America. And the poll tax was another example of people trying to limit voter access. The poll tax was there because in the South, a disproportionate number of African American people were low income and would not be able to afford the tax of being able to vote. So it disproportionately affected people that were African American. The same thing is true of literacy tests. Go back and look at literacy tests, quote unquote, that existed prior to voting in the 1950s and 1960s. They are overtly racist. They overtly attempt to curtail a certain group of people from voting in order to try and gerrymander votes and gerrymander districts in order to be more favorable towards which party? Which party did that? Fuck, I seem to... Oh, right, it was the fucking right wing. It was the Republicans that did that, and they're trying to do it again. It's not enough that they're trying to gerrymander the fucking shit out of Texas, because, by the way, Texas has become, over my lifetime, becoming more and more of a swing state, folks. There's a good chance that within the next few electoral cycles, Texas is going to go purple. I'm not saying it's going to go blue, because I don't think a blue Texas is happening any goddamn time soon. As far as their gerrymandering is concerned, they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that Texas doesn't flip blue. But I think it's going to become a swing state. And isn't that a perfect example of how untenable these ideas are becoming to the American populace? That Texas, one of the strongholds of the American right wing, one of the strongholds of American conservatism, is becoming so untenable to the right wing that they're having to gerrymander the fucking shit out of their districts in order to try and sustain any fucking relevancy there whatsoever. Ricardo Reyes, the executive director of Vets Forward, told ABC 15 the measure was a clear attempt at voter intimidation. It brought back, you know, memories of being in history class and learning about the KKK being at the polls when the black people first started to vote, he said. And you know what? Maybe some people out there are going to act like that's like hyperbole. By the way, if you think it is hyperbole but are still enjoying the stream, please give the stream a like. Much obliged. Be much appreciated. You 8 fine folk out there watching this stream. I don't even know who Jerry Mander is. Fire at Will! Who's Will and why are we firing at him? Thank you, Spooky. A bit of much needed levity added on to the stream. Spooky pulling his weight in the side chat, being the awesome chatter that he is. The bill was scheduled to be discussed in the Senate Judiciary and Elections panel on Friday, but 6 hours after the hearing began, the chair announced SB 1570 would not be heard after all, meaning the measure would miss Friday's deadline to advance out of the committee. Community members and faith leaders who packed the hearing room to oppose SB 1570. Wait a minute, faith leaders? Faith leaders? But I thought that everybody on the right wing was just a bunch of Christians and everybody on the left wing was a bunch of godless heathens. I can't believe it. What do you mean faith leaders? Oh, they must be referring to Satanists, right? Clearly they're referring to Satanists there when they say faith leaders, right? Jerry Mander is Sally Mander's brother. You guys are keeping it real over in the side chat. Much obliged. You guys are like Stadler and Waldorf out there. Fucking the Muppets. I don't even know who Jerry Mander is. Jerry Mander is Sally Mander's brother. No! That's the energy that you guys are bringing to the side chat. Much obliged. It's a win for today, Stephanie Maldrano, Lucha political director, told the crowd. And it's a win that when people show up, show out. We win. Which is true. This is why I say that it's up to you, people in the audience, whether or not you want to care about this shit. Right? You guys out there are going to be the ones making the choice as far as whether or not you really invest yourselves in this. And I don't mean invest yourselves in the stream. You could give a fuck less about the stream. I mean the things that are being talked about. You know, if you think that the things I'm saying are dead wrong, go and look into them for yourself. Go and look at all of the articles that I've pulled today. I've clearly shown where they've come from. Go look them up and go and build me a show refuting the things that I've said here. That's what I'd like to see, right? I want to see the ideas being talked about because the ideas are what fucking matters. You know, ultimately, for as much as every once in a while I'll go like, hey guys, like the stream. It's mainly because I want these ideas to get out there and for people to talk about them. Because whether people agree with them or disagree with them, at least people are talking about the ideas. That's what fucking matters. Several of those who plan to testify sang and addressed the crowd after State Senator Wendy Rogers adjourned the meeting. The Hebrew prophets had a word for this bill. The Reverend Eric... Oh, I guess it wasn't a bunch of Satanists. Weird. Eric Lenderman said, they call it oppression, the use of power to silence the voices of the vulnerable and of their opposition. What? You mean to tell me that it's a Christian's duty to be able to stand up in the face of people being oppressed and silenced? But according to Dan, that's a bunch of demonic babble that I said that. I can't believe it. Gizly Faxwell seems to have Trump's favor. That is true, Monsieur Bells. It is very true indeed. I think we've covered this as much as we need to, though. On to the next segment. And we only have, let me see here. We've got 1, 2. Oh, this one unloaded itself, but I managed to get it back. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 segments left in the show, ladies and gentlemen, before I open the panel. Thank you very much to everybody out there that's been enjoying the show so far. I've been covering quite a gauntlet of different content. If you haven't seen some of the content earlier in the show, make sure to check it out after the fact. Go back and watch it a little bit. That'd be pretty cool. But in any case, Homeland Security pushes social media giants to dox anonymous accounts critical of ICE. Have you criticized ICE online? The government might be after your personal information. Well, let me just say unequivocally, in case I'm not already on that list, fuck ICE. ICE is a bunch of fucking garbage. It's a shit organization. And yeah, put me on the fucking list. I don't give a fuck. Go ahead. You know what I do care about is the principle of this violating people's freedom, right? In the same way that the Patriot Act, there was so many people out there that went, oh, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have anything to hide. Okay. That's the fucking mentality that's literally been used by every single fucking authoritarian regime throughout human history. Whether you go back to the fucking 7th century China, or you go back to fucking Nazi Germany, or you go back to Maoist China, all of them all say, as justification for shit like this, well, if you don't have anything to hide, why are you worried about being searched? Why are you worried about all of your information being collected? Privacy? Oh, you have privacy concerns? Well, clearly you're an enemy of the state. Take them away. No, people are actually fucking entitled to their privacy, believe it or not. I know that that's like becoming less and less in vogue nowadays because more and more people are just bending the fucking knee and more just bending over for that fucking fact as far as trying to fucking submit themselves to all this shit that's going on. But believe it or not, I actually believe that you as an American have a right to privacy, right? You can live your life and not be guilty of any wrongdoing whatsoever and still have a right to have your private to have your private goings on, your comings and goings, right? What you do online or otherwise, what you say on the phone. You have a right to have all of that kept private. Because in the same way that you wouldn't want somebody personally looking into your information, you don't want the government looking into that information either. Because at the end of the day, for as dehumanized as the government might be in some people's eyes, it's still the exact same thing, isn't it? It's still some fucking stranger, whether they're a government agent or a fucking looky-loo peeping Tom that's getting access to some private stuff that you don't necessarily want put out there. You know, if the same thing is true, if you don't have anything to hide, then what's the problem? Well, I guess we should just allow public nudity, shouldn't we? Because if you don't have anything to hide, well, fuck it. People should just be allowed to walk around with their tits out. People should just be able to walk around with their dicks hanging out. Oh, wait. People expect a certain level of privacy within their lives? People expect that people shouldn't be able to look at aspects of their body that they want kept to themselves? I can't fucking believe it. It's just a ridiculous argument. As soon as you take it to a place like that, it falls apart. Because of course people are entitled to privacy. Of course people have a right to have a private life that isn't invaded and looked into by a bunch of fucking weirdos. In the latest escalation in their efforts to push back against opposition to immigration and customs enforcement, the Department of Homeland Security is issuing hundreds of subpoenas to the largest social media companies, including Google, Meta, Facebook and Instagram, Discord, and Reddit, seeking to learn the personal information behind accounts that have either criticized ICE or alerted the general public to the locations of ICE agents, according to reporting conducted by the New York Times. Under the conditions of anonymity, 4 government officials and tech employees with privileged access to these DHS subpoena requests spoke to the Times, revealing that Google, Meta, and Reddit have complied with at least some of these government requests for private information. By the way, this one's a little bit out of date, but it's basically all of them at this point have come forward and said, yeah, we gave up your public information. Yeah, they got it now, by the way. They got it. Keep in mind, these are the same fucking people who I showed on video on one of my previous streams, calling a woman just recording them in public domestic terrorism. That's the fucking mentality that this agency takes. So congratulations, if any of you have been critical of the federal government or any federal organizations, you're a domestic terrorist. Such a fucking load of bullshit. Another point is that people have trusted organizations to keep their information private, only to find those organizations have been hacked. Well, it's not just that, because it'd be one thing if all of these organizations got hacked and all this information just got leaked out, right? But no, the government went to these organizations and went, hey, give your fucking shit up, bitch. And they went,
okay, all right, I guess we'll do that. You gave us a subpoena, so I guess everybody's private information is just up for grabs now.
Yeah. Fucking bunch of bullshit. By the way, really quickly, just to go back to the whole tariff discussion, can we just talk about how fundamentally broken the system is? For the fact that the Supreme Court had to take over a year to rule on Trump's tariffs, right? Trump's tariffs started coming into effect about a year ago, which is when the Supreme Court started having hearings about this and started debating it. So, you know, when the Department of Justice through the Supreme Court actually has to take its time and thoroughly go through a case in order to examine whether or not it is in fact illegal or legal to have these tariffs, and it rules, no, in fact, these tariffs are not legal, and the President of the United States can just turn around and go, well, you know what, folks? I'm raising them even higher. I'm raising them even higher, folks. Yeah, that's kind of an example of a broken system, isn't it? Because the Supreme Court is supposed to have the authority to be able to tell the president to not fucking do this kind of shit. But you know what? Trump is just taking a page out of Andrew Jackson's book, isn't he? Isn't Andrew Jackson one of the fucking people that he idolizes? He has his portrait hung on his office. He's well known for telling the Supreme Court to basically go fuck itself. And look at how well that fucking turned out for him. He's one of the most reviled, hated presidents in American history. There's a small little subset of people that love Andrew Jackson and think that he's the greatest. But the vast majority of people, if you go up to them and are like, hey, what do you know about Andrew Jackson? Most of them will go, ugh, yeah, he's kind of like the shitty president, isn't he? That's what most people with any knowledge of Andrew Jackson will tell you. And I feel like the very same is true for how history will rule about Trump. History will come to a point where there will be a group of people that will always be loyalists, right? There's always going to be that group of people that are going to be like, Trump was the best. We loved Trump. He was great. But that's the case for every single president, right? I think the vast majority of people, though, are going to take a look at this absolute turd of a presidency and go, holy shit, this was fucking awful. This guy fucking sucks. Anyways, DHS told The Times that the agency had a broad administrative subpoena authority, but declined to answer questions about these social media requests, while their lawyers have argued that the information is necessary to protect the safety of ICE agents operating in the field. Yeah, it's necessary to know the personal identifications of people who are critical of ICE. Let's just highlight that for a moment, right? They're not saying, hey, give us information of people who've made violent remarks about ICE. Give us information about people that have made extremist threats regarding ICE agents. No, they're saying, give us information about anybody who's even been fucking critical about ICE, which, like I said before, go the fuck ahead as far as I'm concerned. But as for everybody else, what the fuck are you goddamn doing? There's no justification for it. It's fucking stupid. It's yet another example of this draconian government trying to bury into people's freedoms while they're looking the other way because they're getting distracted with, oh, but what are the immigrants doing? Oh, but what are the transgender doing? Who gives a fuck? When you compare that to the fact that they're fucking actively stripping your freedoms away from you in real time. All right. Up next, we've got the story that I was kind of hinting to earlier. And I'm just going to kind of let it play. And we'll get into the information surrounding it directly after it plays.
On July 10th, 2025, I was confronted by ICE agents on my way to work. I want you to understand exactly what that looked like, not because I want sympathy, but because it exposes a crack in the law that must be fixed. I was driving to my job as a security guard at a licensed farm in Camarillo, California. Federal immigration agents were lined across the road leading to the farm. I identified myself as a U.S. citizen and a veteran, but that didn't matter. Agents smashed my window, sprayed tear gas and pepper spray into my car, dragged me out. I was choking on gas, unable to breathe, while officers shouted conflicting commands even after I complied. They pinned me down, one kneeling on my back and another kneeling on my neck, while my hands were already behind me. I was first taken to a Navy base where agents collected my DNA, and after that, I was taken to a detention center and held for 3 days without charges. No phone call, no lawyer, no medical care, even though my skin burned from the chemicals. I wasn't allowed to shower. On July 10th, 2025.
But I'm going to let that replay just because I kind of got a little distracted by... Shout out to Gerrymander Official over in the side chat. Why is everybody talking about me? Sorry, I should have mentioned you in the description of the stream. That's my bad, Gerrymander Official. Sorry about that. But for the sake of trying to take this seriously, let's rewatch this for a second.
I was confronted by ICE agents on my way to work. I want you to understand exactly what that looked like, not because I want sympathy, but because it exposes a crack in the law that must be fixed. I was driving to my job as a security guard at a licensed farm in Camarillo, California. Federal immigration agents were lined across the road leading to the farm. I identified myself as a U.S. citizen and a veteran, but that didn't matter. Agents smashed my window, sprayed tear gas and pepper spray into my car, dragged me out. I was choking on gas, unable to breathe, while officers shouted conflicting commands even after I complied. They pinned me down, one kneeling on my back and another kneeling on my neck, while my hands were already behind me. I was first taken to a Navy base where agents collected my DNA, and after that, I was taken to a detention center and held for 3 days without charges. No phone call, no lawyer, no medical care, even though my skin burned from the chemicals. I wasn't allowed to shower. On July 10th, 2024.
What's up, Aiden? What's up, Steven? How's it going, Mr. Andrew Bullen? Hope you're doing well. Hope your show went well over on the Proverbs, guys. Did I miss the segment on Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, or is it still to come? So I mainly covered Andrew's arrest yesterday, or the day before, rather, on my stream Astro Train. You're more than welcome to go and check that out. I did a little bit more coverage of Andrew earlier on this show, mainly just to call Lupin an idiot. Mainly to call him an idiot regarding the whole Andrew situation, because he was talking about how he was hoping and praying that Trump wasn't in the files, even though that kind of doesn't make any sense to hope and pray for something that's already happened to somehow change posthumously. But, like, just really quick to go over that one more time. Isn't that like the ultimate example of virtue signaling? Like, these guys are always like, oh, you virtue signal, you always say these sorts of things. But if you're trying to pray that an event that's already occurred somehow changes after the fact, that's like the fucking definition of virtue signaling, isn't it? But yeah, the Andrew Mountbatten Windsor arrest, suffice it to say, good on the UK for actually holding their royals to account. Not only did they have more of a precedent for doing it than America, given the whole Charles I situation in 1647, but, you know, they're also covering things more nowadays, too. So, good on the UK for actually trying to hold their fucking leaders to account. Certainly a lot better than the United States, the country that supposedly rebelled against that very nation because their king was tyrannical and unable to fucking face public accountability for the things he was doing. Funny how that works, huh? Anyways, I played this video. And I wanted to play that video because I wanted him to kind of explain in his own words what happened before I read the accompanying article. Army veteran sues federal government after ICE detains him for 3 days. United States citizen George Rates. I believe that's Rates. It's either Rates or Reets. Not sure. Somebody can please correct me in the side chat if I'm wrong about that. I'd be much obliged. But was held without access to family, an attorney, or information about the charges against him. Wow. Being held out information about the charges against you, I'm pretty fucking sure that that violates habeas corpus. But hey, who cares, right? Who cares about the fact that he was basically held without charge for 3 goddamn days, even though he was a veteran that served his country and a citizen thereof, right? An Army veteran detained by federal immigration agents in Southern California during his work commute in July has filed a lawsuit against the federal government. According to the lawsuit filed on Wednesday with the help of non-law profit firm Institute for Justice, George Rates was held in a detention center for 3 days without access to his family, an attorney, or any information about the charges against him, in what the suit argues was an unconstitutional detention. It's the definition of an unconstitutional detention. The only time that this is even vaguely acceptable, the only time that it's vaguely acceptable is when martial law is declared and people are allowed to be held without charge for up to 24 hours, I believe. I believe it's 24 hours. I could be wrong about that. Somebody could go back and correct me about that. But this guy was held for 3 fucking days without any fucking charge, without access to his family, without access to a lawyer. And he's somebody that served his fucking country. Once again, let's hear the excuse making for this guy. Oh, did this guy try to fucking hit agents with his car, even though the video footage clearly doesn't show that too? Did this guy make a disparaging remark about somebody in 1997 that somehow fucking qualifies his story and everything about him? I'm sure there's some way that the right is going to be able to go and say, oh, George Rates, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy, because insert X excuse that tries to disqualify his opinion and experience here. Because that's all these people are fucking capable of doing. They can't face the actual reality of the arguments being made to them. So instead, they just have to do everything in their power to try and disqualify them without even having to deal with the actual fucking fact of the argument being made. It's a goddamn travesty is what it is. Rates, a 26-year-old citizen who was arrested while on his way to a job to secure as a security guard at a farm in Ventura County, where a raid by Immigration and Customs Enforcement was underway on 10th of July. After Rates attempted to explain to agents blocking the roadway that he needed to get through to work, agents shattered his car window, removed him from the vehicle, and detained Rates without checking his identification. He was later held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles without a clear explanation of his detainment. George's rights were violated, and he is filing the lawsuit not only to protect his own rights, but to have the rights of others be protected too. Andrew Weimer, director of media relations at the Institute for Justice, told The Guardian, "What happened to George is clearly wrong. No one can be held for 3 days without being told what they've done wrong, without being charged with a crime. Americans deserve justice when their rights have been violated. In fucking deed." In an op-ed from the San Francisco Chronicle, Rates said that he missed his daughter's 3rd birthday party. Oh wow, let's just put the fucking cherry on top of things. Not only does fucking Renee Good get shot on her way to fucking deliver her kid to school, right? After she's dropped her kid off from school, she gets murdered. But now this guy gets to miss his fucking daughter's 3rd birthday party because he's being illegally held in a fucking detention center without any fucking notice as to what he did wrong. Then I was just let go with no charges, no explanation for why, and no apology. Of fucking course. Of course. They just let him go. They're just like, oh shit, we're illegally holding somebody in violation of the Constitution. Let's just dump you back onto the street without even explaining to you what happened. Because who the fuck needs to explain their wrongdoings when you're a fucking government as tyrannical as this one, am I right? The lawsuit was filed against the United States government, which oversees the Federal Bureau of Prisons and the detention center where Rates was held. ICE, Customs and Border Protection, CBP, the U.S. Navy, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Existing legislation allows individuals to sue state and local officials if those officials violate their constitutional rights, which, by the way, was something I was hearing about recently. I was hearing this narrative about how, oh, it's okay that the cops do all these horrible things because the people that get wrongfully treated, they get paid back. They get paid back. They get restitution. Do you know who pays for that fucking restitution? Because let me tell you, it's not the fucking cops individually or the police departments that are paying the restitution for people. It's not the Border Patrol agents or ICE or any of these fucking institutions individually that have to repay people. It's the American fucking taxpayer who gets money taken out of their pocket in order to exonerate the wrongdoings of these people. And you know, it's so absurd. Because there's people out there going, oh, well, if you held them to accountable and they lost their jobs, how are they going to take care of their kids? They have mouths to feed. Oh, really? Well, maybe if they had mouths to feed and they have other responsibilities, maybe that should encourage them all the more to do their fucking job properly, huh? You really mean to tell me that we live in a society where if somebody is sitting at a fucking Starbucks and they fucking make somebody's drink wrong, right? They keep fucking up people's orders. You're at a McDonald's even. Fuck Starbucks. You're just at a fucking restaurant. And you're making people's orders. And you keep fucking people's orders up over and over again. You're going to get fired from that job. You're going to get shit canned because you're not doing it right. Do you think the manager on duty at the time is going, oh man, they may be fucking up their job, but they have a family to feed? No, they're not. And think about it, right? What are the comparative consequences? The comparative consequences for the person working the restaurant and fucking the order up, at worst, is that somebody has an allergic reaction, which is really bad, right? Bad allergic reaction, anaphylactic shock, that's really bad. And it can lead to somebody dying. And the person who made that meal is held to a higher standard than a person who's trained and as insofar as how to conduct themselves in these situations. Whether they be a cop or whether they be an ICE agent, they're objectively held to a lower standard than a fucking fry cook or a Starbucks barista. And it's unfucking justifiable. We fully expect this government will claim various immunities, and they will try to get the case dismissed before it can really get started, said Weimer. These cases present a lot of difficulties. We know what we're in for, and it might be a years-long fight. But because we're a public interest law firm that will not be charging George, this is a fight that we can take on. Yeah, I somehow doubt that a public fucking prosecutor or public defender would be able to handle this kind of shit. Why are you yelling at us? We agree with you, dude. I'm not yelling at... Yeah. I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling because I'm fucking pissed off at the sheer fucking naked iniquity. Naked iniquity that's taking place all around me. I'm angry because I seem to be able to see it, and people like you, Steven, be able to see it, but there's such a big segment of people out there who just willfully fucking shut their eyes and plug their ears and go, la, 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 everything is great, everything is fine. Government is the greatest fucking thing on earth. Aiden, we have the same haters. Ain't that the truth? I don't know how that managed to coincide. I don't know how they managed to Venn diagram their way back into being completely aligned, but you are right. They are almost completely aligned with each other, aren't they? In any case, let's take a look at our next thing. Our next thing is a little bit more humorous in nature. Let's take a look at these excellent, highly trained ICE agents in action, right? Because it seems like they're so highly trained that they lock themselves out of their vehicles mid-pursuit.
Oh, what the fuck?
Go! Get him! Uh-oh, that guy should be arrested. He honked his horn. Arrest that man! He's a domestic terrorist! He honked his horn!
Oh,
you fucking idiot! You fucking moron! You locked yourself out of your fucking vehicle. You fucking flatfoot Keystone Cop fucking Oh, yeah. Highly trained, ladies and gentlemen. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Alrighty. Our next segment that we have coming up here is probably one of the most important ones because it presages something that's pretty fucking significant going on in the world right now. Major military buildup. We got that from PBS News. Here's what we know about the buildup of United States military assets in the Middle East. That's right. I hear the train a-coming. It's coming round the bend. And I haven't had a war in the Middle East since, well, less than a few years ago. Come on, guys. Let's do it again. Let's go back into the Middle East. It worked out so well for us last time. Let's put our dicks in that beehive all over again. Let's put ourselves in another quagmire in the Middle East. Let's make sure that we sacrifice another bunch of those soldiers that we pretend that we care so much about. We care so deeply about the troops, right, guys? But we're going to throw a bunch of their fucking lives away in the Middle East, just like we did in the 2000s. And you know why? Because just like the 2000s were all a fucking giant subterfuge in order to try and build an American ally in the Middle East, this is all a giant subterfuge to try and distract from the fact that the President of the United States is implicated in the largest child sex trafficking ring in American history. That's what this is a subterfuge about. Clearly, Venezuela didn't fucking work. And by the way, just a little bit of commentary. Have you guys even fucking heard any justification for this at all? You know, at least in the 2000s, America was like, we got to go into the Middle East because of those terrorist killers. We got to go in there and we got to smoke them out. They hit the World Trade Center and gee dang it, we got to go and get them back. We got to smoke them out. You know, they had that in the 2000s. With Venezuela, they at least attempted to have some sort of excuse with the drug boats. But it seems like this administration is just going full fucking mask off as far as its fucking saber rattling and aggression overseas is concerned. Because maybe I'm just alone here, but I haven't even heard a single justification for this. I haven't heard a single reason or explanation for the military buildup that's occurring right now. So let's give a little bit of a read to it. The Pentagon is sending the largest force of American warships and aircraft to the Middle East in decades, including 2 aircraft carrier strike groups, as President Donald Trump warns of possible military action against Iran if talks over its nuclear program fall apart. It's proven to be, over the years, not easy to make a meaningful deal with Iran, and we've had to make a meaningful deal, Trump said Thursday. Otherwise, bad things will happen. This channel does not condone putting your dick into a beehive, and any such comments are for entertainment purposes only. That is true. That is true. I do not, on the Aiden Linden channel, officially condone putting your dick into a beehive. Please do not do that. Please don't do that. That is bad for your health. Thank you, Spooky, for that clarification. Trump likely will have a host of military options, which could include just surgical attacks on Iran's nuclear defenses or strikes focused on Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, experts say. Ali Khamenei. But they warned that Iran could retaliate in ways that it hadn't following attacks last year by the U.S. on Israel, potentially risking American lives and sparking a regional war. By the way, if you guys thought Iraq was bad, if you guys thought invading Iraq was bad, if you thought Iraq became a fucking bloodbath that claimed countless American and Iraqi lives with it, you guys aren't even fucking ready for Iran. okay? And I'm not acting like Iran is going to beat America or it's going to fucking kick America's ass, but you know what it's going to do? It's going to break America's dick right off in the Middle East, all right? They might be able to win, but at what cost, right? They're going to have to turn the country into a fucking parking lot, or they're going to have to do Iraq Part 2, where they go street to street, house to house, with every other fucking American soldier either getting blown up by an IED or watching their buddies get blown up by an IED. What a great fucking scenario to put the fucking American people and American soldiery at large through. This Iran nuclear deal. This has been talked about. This fucking nuclear deal has been talked about for as long as I've been alive. And all of a sudden now it's hitting a fever pitch. Now all of a sudden it's so out of control that we've got to fucking put him in. Iran population, 93 million. Yeah, who cares? Iran is a completely fucking different beast to Iraq, is what I'm trying to say. Iran is going to be worse than Iraq and Afghanistan and maybe even fucking Vietnam all put together. Because in Vietnam, they didn't have fucking drones. And if you think it's just America that has drones, oh, no. Maybe in the 2010s, America was the one that had the monopoly on drones. But if you think that American soldiers aren't going to have drones up their ass every single minute if they go into Iran, you're kidding yourself. Iran can close the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, the fact that they can literally strangle the global oil supply is a completely other different talking point as well. Like, Iraq briefly was a regional power under Hussein, right? Under Saddam Hussein. And even under those circumstances, when he fought with Iran, he fought some of the most brutal trench warfare that the world has ever seen since the First World War and got fought to a standstill. Even his army that was considered the pinnacle of Arab armies, the pinnacle of armies in the Middle East, got ground to a total standstill through trench warfare. Don't get me wrong, obviously the American military is better than Saddam's, given the fact that, it toppled Hussein's regime. But that's because when America was fighting Hussein's regime, America was fighting a lot more of a conventional war. And the war between Iraq and Iran was a lot more conventional than what would be taking place in the modern context here as well. So let's read a little bit more. Trump has repeatedly threatened to use force to compel Iran to agree to constrain its nuclear program earlier over Tehran's bloody crackdown on nationwide protests. Oh, I see. So when Tehran is brutal against its citizens when they go up against their people, when the capital of Iran starts going up against demonstrators in their streets, that's a problem. But meanwhile, you're actively trying to invoke martial law by trying to incite a fucking riot in Minneapolis, right? It's okay when you do it, though. That'd be a great short to bring up. Which one do you mean? Wait, which short, Achilles? I'm not quite sure which one you're referring to. Trump also said last week that a change in power in Iran would be the best thing that could happen. Huh. It's really weird. It's almost like there's actually a history that this region has for regime change, right? It's almost like there was a history that America had with regime change in Iran. How well did that go last time, America? When you tried to change out Iran's democratically elected government for the Shah, a brutal fucking monarch who terrorized his people, right? When America put in the Shah, how well did that turn out? Oh, wait, the Shah created a giant militant Islamist regime led by the Ayatollah that now vehemently hates America and has built a hatred of America into the fucking bedrock of its cultural identity based on the fact that you have a history of trying to fuck with their fucking country. But yeah, try it again, Trump. I'm sure it'll work out great this time. The aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln and 3 guided missile destroyers have been at the Arabian Sea since the end of January after being redirected from the South China Sea. The strike group, which brought roughly 57 additional service members to the region, bolstered the smaller force of a few destroyers and three littoral combat ships after they were already in the region. 2 weeks later, Trump ordered the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, along with 3 destroyers and more than 5,000 more service members, to head to the region. This will bring the Navy's presence in the region to 14 ships, and it will dwarf the 11-ship fleet that was there until the Ford's departure, stationed at the Caribbean Sea. Numerous additional U.S. fighter jets and support aircraft have also touched down in the Middle East. Dozens of fighter jets, including F-35s, F-22s, F-15s, and F-16s, left bases in the U.S. and Europe and were spotted heading to the Middle East by the Military Air Tracking Alliance, a team of about 30 open-source analysts that routinely analyze military and government flight activity. The team says that it's also tracked more than 85 fuel tankers and over 170 cargo planes heading into the region in mid-February. Yeah, nothing to see here, guys. Nothing to see here. Just look the other way, everybody. Never mind. Pay no attention to the military build. I'm gonna play Achilles short here after I'm done covering this. He's just look, I know shorts, and Achilles, he's got the best shorts. He does. He knows them, ladies and gentlemen. He's got them on tap. All right. To finish this off, the team says it's. Oh wait, I've already read that. Stephen Watkins, a researcher based in Canada. Oh no, they're Canadian. You don't have a right to say anything about America. You're from Canada, random guy that's a researcher in my country. Your opinion's automatically disqualified. Never mind the fact that you're just reporting on the objective facts of what's going on. A researcher based in Canada and a member of the MATA said that he had also tracked support aircraft, like 6 of the military's early warning E-3 aircraft, headed to a base in Saudi Arabia. Those aircraft are key for coordinating operations with a large number of aircraft. The massive wave was preceded weeks prior by the arrival of Air Force F-15E Strike Eagles. U.S. Central Command said on social media that the fighter jet enhances combat readiness and prompts regional security and stability. Yeah, I'm sure things are more and more stable by the minute the more and more troops we put into that region. You know what that always makes me think of? The idea that America bringing a bunch of fucking military forces to a region of the world, therefore making it more stable, is like the idea that if a couple of people are fighting with some if a couple of kids are fighting with toy pistols out in the fucking lawn, a fucking SWAT team pulls up and fucking aims their fucking guns. Like, get on the fucking ground! Kids are playing with their fucking Nerf guns! Get on the goddamn ground! Don't worry, everybody. We're here to make the situation safe. We're here to de-escalate the situation, everybody, okay? I know everybody's panicking right now and losing their minds, but everybody just calm down. We're here to make everything safe. That's basically what I think when I see shit like this. Aiden, speaking about shouts, let's cut this rambling short and open the panel. Fuck you, Peter. I'll open the panel when I goddamn want. You know what? Just because you said that, I'm delaying the fucking panel being open by another 10 minutes. I'm delaying it just because you said that, Peter. Hope you're fucking happy, bitch. Hope you're happy. I hope that comment bought you exactly what you wanted. Why you fucking put that in your pipe and smoke it? At the time, analysts of flight tracking data also noticed dozens of U.S. military cargo planes headed to the region. The activity is similar to last year when the U.S. moved in air defense hardware like a Patriot missile system in anticipation of an Iranian counterattack following the June bombing of 3 key nuclear sites. Iran launched over a dozen missiles at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar days after the strikes. Expectations of retaliation. What? They expect retaliation just because they're objectively escalating things in the region? I can't fucking believe it. Seth Jones, a defense expert at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, says that it's important to note that the U.S. is not deploying a major ground force. The U.S. deployed more than 500,000 troops during Operation Desert Storm in the early 1990s and roughly 250,000 American forces in Iraq in 2003. So there are substantial limits to the force package, he said, on the current military assets in the region. The U.S. military buildup is technically the region's largest since the 2003 invasion of Iraq, even though the resources moved to the war dwarfed current assets, said Michael O'Hanlon, a defense and foreign policy analyst at the Brookings Institution. So let's just say, right? Let's just say that is the case. Once again, let's play a little bit of devil's advocate. Let's play devil's advocate for a minute and say that this isn't a build up to an escalation or a war, right? If it's not a build up to an escalation or a war, it's certainly giving that impression on the international stage. He's essentially giving an ultimatum to the country saying, either you fucking do what I say right goddamn now, or bad things are going to happen. He's basically like doing the equivalent of like flashing your gun. You like pull your jacket back a little bit and show your gun when you're in an argument with somebody. That's basically what he's doing. But no, that's meant to de-escalate tensions. I know when somebody fucking threatens to pull a gun in an argument, that de-escalates things. Many likely expect Iran to just keep firing drones and cruise missiles back at Israel and American bases in regard to almost anything we might do, O'Hanlon said. But he said Iran could go bigger and broader, especially if its leadership feels targeted. I mean, if America wants to go fuck up Iran, America's going to go fuck up Iran. It's not like it has any shortage of fucking false flag attacks in its history regarding justification for its invasion of other countries. So, you know, even if Iran fucking hits one of these bases, this kind of has to be pointed out, right? If Iran striking a United States installation is indeed the thing that triggers a broader war, then the question has to be, okay, well, why didn't it trigger it earlier when Iran retaliated over the fact that you hit multiple fucking sites of theirs? Like, that's the thing that's always kind of missed out on. Everybody always likes to act like Iran. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here simping for Iran, right? I'm not exactly acting like their country has either America or my country's best interests in mind. But you still have to factor in their regional interests. You still have to at least attempt to think from their perspective in order to understand and establish motivation. And from their perspective, they're going to fucking hit you back because you fucking hit them first. You fucking hit a bunch of their nuclear sites. Which, you know, should they have a right to nuclear weapons? God's honest truth? I don't know whether or not they should have any more or less of a right to nukes than any other goddamn country on the planet. As far as I'm concerned, nuclear arms should just be completely non-proliferated. We may as well just dismantle all of the fucking nukes. Because, unfortunately, while that's like the pinnacle of idealistic thinking, you know, the cat's out of the bag, unfortunately. If we do dismantle all the nukes, another country is just going to build them up anyways. I do think complete non-nuclear proliferation would be the best solution, because it is precisely because countries like the United States and China and Pakistan and India and Israel and the United Kingdom and France all have these fucking nuclear arms that all of these other countries feel justified for getting them. Okay, it's a fucking cascading effect, right? Let's be honest, Israel almost definitely has fucking nukes. I've barely heard anybody ever deny that they have nukes, except for the Israeli government, because of course they will. But not only do they have nukes, they have nuclear-armed attacked submarines around the world right now. And do you really think that doesn't escalate things in that region? Do you really think that Iran isn't building a nuclear program precisely because America's vassal state in that region also has nukes? Like, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a broader context needs to be looked into for that before people just automatically go, oh, they shouldn't have it. They hate the country. Well, why do they hate America? They didn't just wake up one day and hate America for no reason, last I fucking checked. But anyways, I think that we've kind of seen this through to its conclusion. I'm going to grab the short that Achilles asked me to grab. And then I'm going to play one more thing after that, and then I'm going to open the panel. Because you are exactly correct, Mr. Peter. I have gone rambling for far too long. It's been almost 2.5 hours I've been sitting here jib-jabbering all over the goddamn place on this show. Maybe somebody else can come on and fill me in about some stuff as well. Anyways, let's look at this short.
Live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population. At all? How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population. At all? No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. Yeah, how could you not know that? I don't sit around memorizing population tables. Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government. I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran. You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government. You're the one who don't know anything about the country. No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad. They're trying to murder Trump. Yes, I do. Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that, we're carrying out military strikes today. You said Israel was. Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them. How many people live in Iran, by the way?
Yeah. You know what that is, though? That's another symptom of our current day and age, though, ladies and gentlemen. Aren't there so many people nowadays? They go running around and they've got the strongest opinions on topics that they don't know a fucking thing about. Oh, I really believe the Bible. I care about the Bible, like Trump, right? Like he acts like he cares so much about the Bible. Oh, I love the Bible, everybody. But then when you ask him about it, and you ask him what his favorite part is, all of it's good. All of it's good. When you look at 2 Corinthians, that's one of my favorite parts. 2 Corinthians. Isn't it pronounced 2 Corinthians? Doesn't anybody that's even like become vaguely familiar with the Bible know it's 2 Corinthians, not 2 Corinthians? No, it's 2 Corinthians. That's how it's always been. That's how it's always been, folks. But yeah, there's so many people out here nowadays that have super fucking strong opinions about things that they don't have any relevant information about whatsoever. Hey, Achilles and Aiden. Hey, Robin. Welcome to the stream, Robin. Hope you're doing well today. Welcome to the channel. Not sure if I've seen you around in the chat, honestly. If I have seen you around in the chat and I'm just forgetting about it, then please pardon me for being an idiot. But if not, welcome to the chat. Awesome to see you around here. All right. I've got one more thing. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the only piece of news that we're going to be allowed to cover today on the channel. Only piece of news. Everything else that I've covered, completely irrelevant, all right? Because, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news, SEAL bounces on beach. Let's take a look. I just want to, let's just focus for a moment. Look at those hops. Look at those hops. He is determined. He's like, I'm fucking getting up on this bitch. And then he reaches this point, and then he has just the moment of existential, not dread. I don't see any dread behind those eyes. I don't see any horror. But he just has this existential moment of just like, what am I doing here? What's going on? Should I take a nap here? Shouldn't I take a nap here? These are the important questions, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why I'm now going to open the panel, and we can talk all about the fact that SEAL bounced on that beach. Live on the Aiden Linden live stream, 2 hours and 23 minutes into the program, he's finally opening up the damn show. Hell yes, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Welcome one, welcome all I'm going to be pinning this up at the very top so that people can get in. Don't know how long I'm going to keep the open panel going for. Might keep it open for a while, might not keep it open for a while. Really just depends on what we got going on and what kind of guest material we got going on as well. It's 1 o'clock in the PM, or it's just about 1 PM for me. So my lovely fiance should be getting home from work in about 2 hours from now. No, an hour. No, 1 hour from now. So I don't have too crazy long to be here, but I can be here for a little bit. Dustin, welcome. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you doing today?
Excellent.
Good. I'm glad to hear. Dustin, what do you have to say to the baby seal bouncing on the beach? What do you have to say?
If there was no bat involved, party foul.
You would too. You'd look at that fucking creature. You'd look at it dead in the eyes, and you'd club it over the head. What the hell?
Do you have any idea what a seal does to
What's wrong with you,
fish?
Dustin?
Do you have any clue what a seal does to a fish? You ever seen them? How freaking savage they'll tear into a fish? Don't come at me sideways and about the majesticness of a seal. What are you talking about?
Mr. Logo,
those things are nasty little monsters.
Seal, I will not have this fucking seal slander on this live stream. I won't tolerate it. Mr. Logo, welcome to the show.
Hi.
We've also got...
Hey.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Please say hello.
No, it's just... I must just adjust the volume. It's really loud.
Oh, is the volume like overall really loud, or what do you mean?
No, maybe just on my phone. On my loudspeaker. Hello. Hello.
Is Dustin eating chips? Dustin, are you currently eating chips? B.S. Lewis wants to know.
No.
What is your favorite kind of chips, Dustin?
Actually, I try to stay away from all forms of potatoes. I'm trying to lose weight.
I mean, fair enough, but I'm just asking, like, in general. I'm sure you, as a red-blooded American, have torn into a bag of potato chips or two in your time. What's your favorite kind of potato chip?
Sour cream and onion Lay's.
Those are pretty legit. You ever had oh no, we lost Mr. Logo. And we've got another person waiting backstage. We've got Jerry Mander. Welcome, Jerry Mander, to the show.
I'm only gonna talk if you make me full screen.
I don't know about that there, Jerry Mander.
You might want to watch out what he was going to show. Right. Just be on the cautious side.
I'll do it. I believe you, Jerry Mander. I believe you want to share the truth. So with that being said, I'm going to make you, if it'll let me. There we
Watch,
go.
It's going to be a picture of Lupin naked.
Hi, I'm Jerry Mander, and I'm running for Congress in the once great state of Georgia. I'm a conservative, which means I believe in three things: God, guns, and that Jews should stick to comedy. No, I've never worn a mask. I want my wife to be able to see my face when I tell her she's not allowed to wear pants. Where I'm from, we believe in the national anthem. The only time we take a knee is to tie the shoelace of a World War II veteran. Call me old-fashioned, but if I'm elected, they ain't gonna teach evolution in school. I mean, if we came from monkeys, then how come there's still monkeys? And Puerto Ricans, for that matter.
True.
Yep, liberals will tell you that we need to be diverse, but I can promise you right now,
it's
I don't
true.
know what that means. My wife Karen told me that yoga comes from India. Well, not on my watch. Pedophiles are running this country, and saying that out loud is all I'm willing to do about it. No, I won't be getting the vaccine. The only vaccine I need is prayer, which should be required in school along with proximity mines and bayonets for all the janitors. I don't know about you, but I like the past better. The now times make me scared in my squishy think spot because there's just so many things that I don't understand. And if I'm elected, you'll be allowed to shoot those things. I'm Jerry Mander. Vote for me. I'll suck a cop's dick.
I'm Jerry Mander, and I approve this message.
It's a thing of beauty. It really is. Mr. Logo, you keep dropping in and out, my friend. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I just had some issues with that volume. It was so loud on my headphone.
Oh, I see. Is it better now?
Yes, I just adjusted that.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear. Well, thank you, Gerrymander.
I think that's a problem with Restream because I joined and Restream put my volume up to 100 and wasn't nice.
Well, I'm sorry about
Same.
that. I'm sorry about that. I can't control the fact that Restream is a shit.
Now I scared Mr.
I
Logo
know!
off by using my own voice. Should have stuck to Gerrymander. I knew it.
Good old Gerrymander.
I think StreamYard is way better. Restream is so unstable.
Well, Mr. Logo, if you'd like to pay for my StreamYard, you're more than welcome to do so.
Hey!
it's not for free?
I told you how to do it. I told you how to do it. I'm working on it.
No. I'd rather have Mr. Logo as my wealthy benefactor, personally.
Well, I mean, you can do both.
That's true. Why have my own opinions when I can get paid to espouse someone else's opinions, you know? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you should never dodge someone else paying for your shit.
It's true.
That's what I say.
So how's everybody doing? Dustin, how much of my show did you catch, my friend?
I was working around big, heavy equipment that could kill me if I wasn't paying attention. So I unfortunately a lot of time to watch it. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. No, you're cool. I mean, it's probably for the best anyway, considering it was a bit of a Trump-heavy episode. So probably for the better anyway. I mean, hey,
Yeah,
there's
I
lots
don't
of other
know,
stuff
bro.
in there too, though. Lots of other stuff.
Yeah, but you have to tiptoe around all the Nazi references and the authoritarianism, and it's not for the Republicans to use the government to impose their will. That's the Democrats' job, right? And it's different when you guys do it. You heard me. You heard me. I ain't changing
All right,
it.
You know what, Dustin? You know what, dude? Because you keep fucking saying this shit all the goddamn time. Let me just go back and show you me criticizing the Democrats while Biden was in.
Your criticism of the Democrats is irrelevant, Aiden. It's irrelevant.
Then quit fucking bringing up that talking point, then, Dustin. You keep talking out of both sides of your mouth, bro. On one side,
I'm
you're
not,
saying
though.
that it's okay. You say it's okay when the Democrats do it, but then when I point out that I don't think it's okay when the Democrats do it, then all of a sudden my actual stance on that becomes irrelevant. Which one is it, bro?
Aiden, it's really simple because I'm not attacking your actual stance on the political status of our policy, wherever it is in policy as it stands right now. That's not the issue. The issue is you're Trump deranged. These things have always been happening, Aiden. There's no difference. The only difference is the man in the office irks you in a bad way. He touches you in your feel bad spot. And I want to know, Aiden, show me on the doll where the orange man hurts you. Just let me know, please.
So the current hollowing out of $10 billion of American taxpayer money for his board of peace, that has precedent in American politics. Where did Obama publicly steal $10 billion of American taxpayer money in order to basically put into? By the way, look into the board of peace. It's an absolute joke. The board of peace is literally him and a bunch of fucking dictators that are all on a board together that are trying to override the UN's authority to be able to make unilateral decisions internationally. Even the Pope
Internationally? What, Aiden, who gives a shit about any of this? I don't.
Who gives a shit? He stole $10 billion out of the American taxpayer's pocket, and you don't give a fuck. You don't care.
Aiden, it's going towards some things that I approve.
Oh, yeah,
and the thing is, Aiden,
what
the thing
you
is,
just found out that the Board of Peace fucking exists.
Aiden, I couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. Aiden, I approve of everything that Trump is doing. I approve. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go even harder because you oppose him. And that's the issue, Aiden. It's not because of any particular thing. It's because you're Trump deranged and you refuse to acknowledge it. It wouldn't matter if it was some Democrat doing this, Aiden. You wouldn't sneer. You wouldn't think twice. You'd be on to something else.
But then when I respond to that by saying that I've called out Democratic fucking corruption loads of times and called out members of the Democratic Party for being corrupt, then you'll just respond by saying that's irrelevant because you're fucking gish galloping.
Aiden, no, I'm not. Aiden, I'm not. I keep hitting the point, and you keep sidestepping it like I'm not even talking about it.
Highlighted what you're doing right now.
No, you didn't, Aiden. No, you didn't. No.
Go ahead, Peter.
Aiden, don't worry. I mean, you're in Canada. I'm in the Netherlands. In 4 years, the Americans will pay 4 times the amount of taxes they pay now. It's not going to hurt us.
Yeah, you know what my problem is, though, is that when it does actually factually hurt people like Dustin, when Trump goes around fucking pocketing loads of money without congressional approval, by the way. No congressional approval whatsoever. Yeah, fuck the checks and balances, right? When Trump when Trump plasters his face in front of the Department of Justice. By the way, Dustin, what are the 3 branches of American government? I'm sure you know them.
I know what they are: the executive, the judicial, and the I forget what the third one is.
Legislative.
Legislative, yeah.
Pedos, grifters, and criminals. Those are the 3.
Well, the three branches have become Donald, John, and Trump are what the 3 branches have now become. Because he's literally
as I said,
his face in front of the Department of Justice. I don't know if you saw that. They're supposed
as I said, pedos, grifters, and criminals. I was right.
I know.
It's the same thing.
I know.
Aiden, please, for the love of God, okay? It's not the first time that a president has tried to assemble a cab, produce his own thing, and fund it through American taxpayers. It absolutely is not. And there are multiple forms of checks and levers, checks and balances in the United States government that can wrangle these kinds of things in. Okay, I understand. I get it, Aiden. We are going against the geographical norms of how the country is supposed to go because it's going on a steady downhill decline, and you're okay with managing that decline. But on the other hand, can I finish what I'm saying, please? Can I finish what I'm saying? I understand the checks and balances, Aiden. This is how the game is played. You try to do something until one of the checks and the balances catches it. And if you can get away with it, you get away with it. What do you think would have happened if Nixon would have been able to get away with it? He would have gotten away with it. That's a part of the game, Aiden. It is a part of the game. Cheating is a part of the game. You may not like it. You may not fucking like it, but cheating is very much a part of the game. And what ends up happening is get the fuck away with it or not. And set because we're getting away with it for a change. And you can't fucking cry about it and instantly reverse course. I hope to God, I hope to God that we, by some miracle, happen to cross the hurdle that is the midterms by at least holding on to either the House or the Senate so that they don't try and deport him, and that we get more illegals out of this country. And I will celebrate every single day like you celebrated when Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck. And you shot the moderate that was willing to have the conversation about it.
When the fuck did I celebrate Charlie Kirk getting shot, Dustin? Show me the fucking spot where I celebrated that. Show me that.
They will never come over to your side.
My question would be, when will you be called the illegal?
It doesn't matter to Dustin because Dustin
at one point it does because when you create a group of people that is so vaguely defined, then you can lump in everybody into that group and say, the homeless are now also the illegals, quote unquote, in a different sense because they are the grifters. They are, you know what I mean?
Hey, just give it 3.5 years. Give it 3 years.
Right. Aiden, I think Dustin is.
Dustin, you're cutting in and out really.
I wonder why
can't understand anything
on his construction site or on his roof, shouting down from the roof, or what's he doing?
I'm not sure, but right now I literally can't understand anything he's saying right now. It's a bunch of jumbled stuff. Dustin, can you try to say something just so that we can see if you have a good connection?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, Dustin. Yes, I can. Dustin, you said something. Now I'm
Badly
going to
we
respond to what you said. I'm now going to respond. Okay. So, in response to what you said, there's no precedent for, until you can find me one that's at all equivalent for Trump taking $10 billion for his Board of Peace bullshit, until you can find me precedent for any other president trying to put their face on top of another branch of the American government's headquarters, until you can find me an example of another
Space
president
Force
being as involved in the Epstein files as Trump, until you can find me an example of any one of those things that are equivalent to Trump, then you can start making the argument to me that this is how things have always been. This is the way things have always been. What do you mean Space Force? What is that?
Space Force, a brand new branch of military assigned to our government.
I'm talking about the fucking 3 branches of American government, Dustin. I'm saying that there's currently a massive overreach on the executive branch of the American government. There's a huge overreach that's occurring right now. And by the way, with what you said about Nixon, do you know what happened with Nixon, Dustin? You know the full case about what happened with Nixon?
I know what happened with Nixon. There was a reason I brought it up, Aiden.
He stayed out of prison, Dustin. How is it that he stayed out of prison?
Because he resigned, Aiden. He resigned.
He resigned. He threw his... And who did he throw under the bus?
His vice president.
No, it wasn't just his vice president. Actually, the primary person that he threw under the bus was the exact role that Pam Bondi is functioning.
Yeah, okay. Right? I guess it would depend on... Well, I mean, where was he wrong, Aiden? Where was he wrong? The reason he got prosecuted was because they didn't do their job. That's the bottom line. They should have kept it secret. And the tapes, yeah, that's exactly what should have happened. They should have just looked the other way, right? Because they did it for Bill Clinton, didn't they? They did it for Bill Clinton, didn't they? They just looked the other way. Yeah, you're a fucking dude. You know, it's horseshit because it's okay when the Democrats are embroiled in a travesty, right? Because it's different when the Democrats do it.
Which I never said.
Last I checked, they impeached Bill Clinton for sexual misconduct.
No, they didn't impeach him. They didn't convict him. He didn't get impeached, right? He got impeached in the House, but it didn't stick.
Which recent president did get impeached? Which recent president was it that got impeached? I forget.
I mean, he got impeached and he impeached him again when he was out of office, which doesn't make any sense.
I just, the name, right, it was Trump that recently got impeached. But you know the problem is, though, Dustin, is that
No,
you're
wrong.
Peter,
You're
let
wrong.
me finish.
You're wrong.
Let me
You're
fucking
wrong.
finish, Peter. Let me fucking finish. The problem, Dustin, is that you think because you cast your vote for Donald Trump, that therefore you have to be tied and beholden to everything that this man does and everything that this man says, because you somehow view yourself as personally, emotionally invested and attached to a fucking man who will never know who you are and will never know what you're doing or what you're about. And that's not to demean you as a person. That's to point out that it's a parasocial fucking relationship. You're trying to benefit a man that will do nothing to benefit you whatsoever because he doesn't know who you are.
You're so insane. No, Aiden, that's not even close to true. Trump sort of aligns with my goals. Okay? He's more in the direction of the way that I want to see the Trump go, or the country go. Right? That's why I'm telling you that if you're upset with the way things are now, in the future, you're definitely going to
make it illegal to have sex with kids, Dustin? Is that what you mean?
Say what?
Or is it?
I said make it legal to have sex with kids.
Dude, if we were in the same room right now, I'd be ripping your face off and wiping my ass with it. Just so you know. Just so you know. You laugh. You laugh, bro. I'm not even with my bare fucking hands.
Dustin, would you mind not getting my stream taken down?
Would you mind have him not calling me a fucking pedophile on your stream? How about that?
He wasn't calling you that.
He's saying that I want to legalize it. What the fuck is that?
I wasn't calling you. I
Hold on.
wasn't calling you.
I would rip your fucking.
Wait. All right, Dustin.
I'm calling you a pedo supporter. That's different.
Chill the fuck out. Okay. Chill the fuck out.
None.
And then we always say in Europe, when Americans are visiting, they were loud and suffered from exceptionalism, right?
My mind is absolutely blown that Dustin is trying to say that it's okay that they're doing it because they're trying to get away with it, and you're okay with when the Democrats.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, Aiden.
I can literally go back earlier to the stream.
That's not what I said, Aiden. I didn't say I was okay with anything. I said cheating is a part of the game. That's what I said, Aiden. I didn't say I was okay with it. I said it's a part of the fucking game.
Oh, and therefore we should just accept it, right?
No, Aiden. Seriously,
no, well then
Aiden,
why are you okay
Aiden,
with it when Trump fucking does
if you actually presented a case, right, with solid, actual evidence, not innuendo and hearsay, I would support it. I have seen nothing in the form of actual solid evidence that Donald Trump has done anything that you accuse him of doing. Just your fucking assertion and bullshit. That's it.
Would you consider to be actual evidence? If you're saying
I'm glad he's at work. No one will notice him.
Hasn't
screaming.
constituted evidence, Dustin, then give me an example of what would be evidence.
Well, I don't know, Aiden. What would convince you of God's existence? We'll start there.
Dustin, don't
we'll
try,
start
don't
there.
try and change the fucking subject. I
No.
asked you a direct fucking question.
You want evidence?
Don't
You
you
want
try
evidence?
and fucking give me the runaround when I ask you a direct fucking question, Dustin.
I don't know, Aiden. I don't know. Evidence. I don't know.
Evidence.
Anything other than your fifth and sixth hand reclamation of some stupid ass accounting of some
This is exactly
reporter.
the problem. You want to bitch and complain about a problem that you see with how I cover Trump, but you
No.
don't even have any fucking qualification for what I'm supposed to do. You're literally bitching about a fucking problem that you don't have a solution
You're
for.
asking me-
How is
you're
that
asking
not
me-
the definition of
You're-
emotional pleading.
You're asking me to lay out the evidence that you would need in order to convince me that
No.
Donald Trump. Okay, well then,
I'm asking
okay,
the
then
type of
clarify
evidence.
your
I'm
question,
asking
Aiden.
the type of-
Clarify
I'm
your
asking
question.
What type of evidence would you need? I'm not even asking for specific things of evidence. I'm asking, like, what form would that evidence need to take?
Well, first off, you would have to come up with, I don't know, an actual charge, right? Something along the lines with the language of assault, or I don't know, anything along that lines, right, Aiden? And then how about a first-hand reclamation from the victim, someone who has come forward and claimed this, and not something that can be held in a civil court where it's only a preponderance of the evidence, but beyond a doubt, Aiden. And I don't think you have the ability to do any of those things. I think you're going to tell me a bunch of, I think you're going to tell me, Aiden, I'm not done. I think you're going to tell me a bunch of second and third hand cases that I'm going to reject on just the idea that it's hearsay. I want to see a first-hand account, Aiden, and I don't think you have the ability.
A deposition under oath is hearsay? I didn't know that.
All right, Dustin, you want that? Thank you for giving me a specific thing. Let's go through them. Trump's 88 criminal charges. 88 criminal charges.
God.
Where they stand. Oh my God! I asked for a specific thing, and he's
and you're giving me a third and fourth hand recounting. Just like I said, I'm rejecting it out of hand. I don't need to hear any of your bullshit.
Dustin, if you don't need to hear it, then fuck off as far as I'm concerned. But look, man, you asked me for a listing of charges. That was literally the first fucking thing that you asked me for, and I've pulled it up, and now you're trying to fucking discount it again. And that's a load of bullshit, dude. It's clear that no matter what I fucking give you, you're just gonna move the goalposts somewhere else.
Yep.
Because you're emotionally invested.
You're just gonna keep feeding me bullshit,
You're
Aiden.
emotionally compromised. That's what you're doing. You're clearly emotionally
compromised.
How is this a third and fourth hand recounting? How is this a third and fourth hand recounting?
You're pulling up an article, Aiden. Article.
I'm pulling up something that is literally going through all of his criminal charges. Dustin.
An article.
Literally
An article.
88 of them.
88. Yeah,
88
that's Lightfoot right there, bro.
88 criminal charges, Dustin?
I
You
bet
really
you.
think? Yeah. It's just 88. Who fucking cares, right?
What? Go ahead and pick the worst. Go ahead and pick the worst one, Aiden. Pick the worst one. Let's go through just one of them. Just one.
Oh,
go
why?
through
So
the
you can
worst
try and
one.
excuse that?
I'm going,
So you can
yes,
try and
Aiden.
excuse
That's what a good
Yeah, exactly.
opponent
You're gonna
does.
try to fucking excuse that.
That's what a good
Because you're not
opponent does,
interested in
Aiden.
an actual intellectually honest examination of this shit. You're interested in taking one fucking side over the other because you're emotionally invested in one of the fucking sides.
What side are you on, Aiden? You think you're on the side
I'm
of
on the
truth?
side of
You're
truth.
on the side of
Yeah,
Trump
you're
derangement
fucking
syndrome.
right that I
You're
am.
Trump deranged.
Fucking
That's what it
right that I
is.
am.
You're Trump fucking deranged.
You're right that I am.
You are Trump deranged, bro. 110% Trump deranged. If it would have been any other president, you wouldn't give a fuck. I will put money on it now.
Derangement syndrome. Can you give me a definition of Trump derangement syndrome?
You're Trump deranged, bro. I'm not gonna get drug into this bullshit. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
No, actually, I don't, Dustin. I don't know what you're saying because every single person I ask what Trump derangement syndrome is always give me a different answer. You know why every single person gives me a different answer, Dustin? The reason why every single person gives me a different answer is because there isn't a solid fucking definition of it because it's used by a bunch of fucking conservatives to just try and discount other people's arguments without actually dealing with the argument. Saying you have Trump derangement syndrome is a really convenient way to out of hand try and say somebody's argument is invalid with addressing .0 as far as what that other person actually said. You want to talk about being a good opponent? You want to talk about doing your due diligence as an opponent? Well, being a good opponent includes not just trying to dismiss your other opponent's argument without actually fucking addressing what that person had to say. That's intellectually dishonest.
Aiden, this isn't what you have to say. This is what you have to say about what somebody else has to say. You have no firsthand experience. If someone was to come to you as a juror, you'd be dismissed on prejudice.
Let me get this straight, Dustin. So even when somebody does come to even if somebody does come to you with firsthand experience and evidence, by the way, I gave a great example of that earlier on the stream of a United States Army veteran literally getting held by ICE on his way to work. No, he got held by ICE on his way to work, Dustin, and without charge, without any fucking specific charge being laid, was illegally held in detention for 3 fucking days. You're talking about how fucking Abraham Lincoln suspended habeas corpus.
That has nothing to do with Trump.
What is it? What is it?
Nothing to do with Trump.
Dustin?
Nothing to do with Trump.
What the fuck is it when somebody gets fucking arrested and they don't have their fucking charges given to them, and they get fucking illegally held for days on end? What is that,
I am
Dustin?
not holding Trump accountable for what.
Is that A, constitutional, or B, unconstitutional, Dustin? A or fucking B?
It's unconstitutional, Aiden, but it wasn't Trump. But it wasn't Trump that did it, Aiden. He wasn't there. He wasn't there holding anybody. He had nothing to do with it, Aiden.
We've constructed
He
a
had nothing to
scoring
do with
system,
it,
have we
Aiden.
not? With multiple and constantly moving goalposts, conveniently creating game day scenarios where almost any and every possible outcome is a score.
Yep.
It's a positive. We
That's
win.
what it's called winning.
High five.
And I'm getting the illegals out of my country. And I've got bells on my heels while we're doing it. And all I can do is pray to God that we hold on to either the House or the Senate so that they don't get them out, so we can keep getting you fuckers out of our country.
Nah, Dustin, you guys are gonna get fucked in the midterms.
I hope not.
Fucked hard in the midterms.
I hope
You're
not.
gonna take a fat fucking dick in the mouth. In the
You don't give a
midterms.
shit
You know
about
why?
me, Aiden.
You know why
You don't
you're
care
gonna take
about
a
what
big
happens to
fucking
me.
dick in the
You
mouth
don't
in the
give a
midterms? You know why? Because your fucking party has become unfucking palatable to the majority of America. That's why. Because the majority of Americans have turned their fucking noses up at this bullshit and gone, no fucking thank you. I don't think having a fucking few brown people thrown out of my fucking country is worth having my constitutional fucking rights impeded on.
Aiden,
I guess
he's
that
right
depends
about
on
that,
which
Aiden.
group of people you think are oppressing your rights, Aiden.
I couldn't care less.
I can't wait to get all you fuckers out of my country.
You fuckers? I'm not
Yep.
in your country, first of all. I'm
Yeah,
not-
I'm
well,
not in your
then it
country.
wasn't directed
I'm not
at you
gonna
then,
be in your
Aiden.
country.
Then why'd you say you fuckers, Dustin?
Because
Although I
it
do have a
sounds like
green
it was.
card.
It sounds like a particular group of people I'm
Uh-huh.
trying to single out, Aiden.
Yeah, because you're having an emotional reaction.
I'm allowed to do that, Aiden. I'm not trying to convict anybody of anything, Aiden. I'm not pointing my finger at anybody claiming that they committed a crime, Aiden. I'm not emotionally compromised, Aiden.
Yeah, you're not emotionally compromised at fucking all, Dustin. Not in the
The,
slightest.
the most emotional guy on the panel is not emotionally compromised. Let
Who
that
am I
sink in.
accused of a crime? Who?
What's that?
Who am I accused of a crime? What possible motivation would I have? What?
I never accused you of crime.
No, I not. In order to be emotionally compromised, what's required to happen?
You have to abandon your logical faculties.
Correct.
In favor of emotional arguments.
Correct. I may have abandoned my logical faculties, but I'm not in order to anything. I don't have a goal here.
Aiden, you have to admit, in order to abandon them, you should have had them first.
Oh, here we go.
You can't abandon what
Peter,
you never
this
had.
is exactly why I would rip your face off, bro.
Dustin.
And this is, I would love to see you try.
Buddy.
Peter, don't antagonize it. I'm not gonna get on Dustin's case for saying that shit and not get on your case for antagonizing it, Peter. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
I'm just having fun.
I know, but there's a line between having fun and having the stream taken down. Right? So let's try and walk that line and not threaten violence on
Well, he didn't say that he was going to do it. He would love to do it. That's not. I mean, you can.
Yeah, he's
fantasize
actually
about everything. As
paying
long as you
attention to what I'm
don't do
saying.
it,
That's scary.
And in all fairness, he couldn't if he
So-
had help.
Bro.
But
Bro, I don't need help. You could have 3 of your best friends there. I'm still ripping your face off.
All right, Dustin. Last warning. Last warning, bro. I mean, the fact
Dude,
that I'm giving you one
he
right
thinks
now,
he thinks he's tough, bro. I can show you tough. I can show you tough.
No,
I don't
think I'm tough.
Oh, you.
I do not think I'm tough.
You're scared, bro.
But I know I am.
I
know I
break
am.
body parts on you.
Hmm?
enough, please.
Yeah, let's talk about
Just-
something.
how about you
cheerful.
just don't
bring
talk
back
to me,
those,
Peter?
Bring back
How
those
about that?
charges.
My
I
family
wasn't
just
talking
gave
to
me-
you.
Hold on! My family just gave me a phone call. Can we please not threaten to kill each other while I'm on the phone, please? I gotta
Sure.
go for a second.
Yeah. We can't have dead air. Let's do this.
We've constructed a scoring system, have we not? With multiple and constantly moving goalposts, conveniently creating game day scenarios where almost any and every possible outcome is a score. It's a positive. We win. High five.
Anyway, if you look anywhere
That can't
else
be
in
AIDS.
the entire country where, I don't know, ICE is being cooperated with,
Wait until Aiden
you
gets
don't.
back.
Sit,
Wait
why?
until
Why?
Aiden gets
Why? I
back.
can say what I want, Peter. Shut the fuck up. You fucking
Because
piece of shit.
he's
I'll
not
say what
gonna
I
hear you.
want,
He's not
Peter.
gonna hear
Who
you.
cares if he hears me? Who cares? We all know what he thinks and what he has to say. I guarantee
Well,
he's gonna
if you wanna
contact.
talk- if you wanna
I'll say
talk
what I
to
want, Peter.
other
Shut
people-
the fuck up, Peter. Shut up. Shut the
Open
fuck
up
up,
your own
Peter.
channel,
Shut
then
the
you can
fuck
say
up, Peter.
whatever you want.
This isn't your channel. I'll say what I want anyway. Shut the fuck up, Peter.
And
Shut
I'm
the
telling
fuck
you,
up.
it's not yours either.